and go to these places. And by the way, if you think this is some liberal agenda, you know what it is? It's the opposite. It's believing in capitalism. It's bringing revenue in. It's bringing commerce, because we saw it with COVID. We saw it with Floyd. We saw the nature of the money which came to from the federal government that would go to one business on one side of the street, and to the other side, nothing. I know of a prominent example that I'm just going to keep quiet on right now. Two similar type of restaurants. One a little bit bigger than the other. And one of them, when the money was given out for the restaurant fund, one of those restaurants received millions of dollars. Millions. And the other was told, hold on. You're going to get your money. Just wait. And guess what happened? Nothing. And some of it was related to all the fallout and the criticism of too much federal money and inflation. So are you inclined, to help out in these days? Because I hope you are. Because there are a lot of these places that are on a very thin position right now, and your help would be essential. 651-461-9226 among the texts. Apologize for it. Cough pops up. Walls shutting down the state for months didn't help the restaurants. Absolutely did not. Suggesting this was the only state where those restaurants were shut down is not based in logic or facts. But do I think many of those places were closed down too long? I did. I do. Some of those points I made early, some of those I have more perspective now. But let's not forget, there was an unfolding pandemic, and among the greatest things that happened during the pandemic was Operation Warp Speed and the vaccine project. And I'm trying to remember, who was the president? Oh, that's right. Donald Trump was the president. Another text. Chad, stop reminding people they're all closed today. We're going to cover the news. We're not going to avoid covering it. And I know somebody else is saying, remember, they're all closed. They're not all closed today. Suggesting every restaurant has closed because of this is silly. Not in a liberal city that hates cops, Chad. So in other words, every individual who is in Minneapolis hates police officers. That's based in nonsense. And by the way, the mayor and the governor, who absolutely poorly handled the fallout of George Floyd, in my view, even more so, Governor Walz and Jacob Frey, where have they stood with law in Minnesota in particular, Minneapolis police officers since the feds and ICE came in? Emphatically behind them. Emphatically. And I am, as I just said, was critical of what happened before. Do you have any idea what retired people live on in Greater Minnesota? That is a broad generalization. Because there's a wide variety of wages in the metro area and in Greater Minnesota. And not once, but twice in the conversation, I said, if you are not in a financial position to participate and help out restaurants, I get it, and I'm not blaming you in any way. But if the texter wants to tell me that everybody in greater Minnesota is struggling, I would encourage you to drive to greater Minnesota as I do frequently. More so in the summer. I'm no fool. And there are plenty of people who are succeeding. I'm not asking people to put themselves in financial jeopardy when they're supporting restaurants. If you're in a position when you can, I think this would be an ideal time to do it. Or tech. Yeah. Texter, I'm on my way right home. Right now, give a ride home to a worker at a prominent Minneapolis restaurant because she's too afraid to take the bus. What do you want to say about that? Jason? Yep. And they're doing this because they're afraid of what's going to happen with ICE and federal authorities. Not because they're afraid. They're going to be attacked. So let's not lose perspective. I know you're going to cover a lot of this, including the protest. Jason will be excellent. Beautiful. Jason's next.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164.
Stop dreaming and start driving. Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood are your Minnesota homes for the stunning looks, the latest technology, and the best local people. Experience amazing. Get to Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood today.
Jason DeRUSH and Drive Time is next on News Talk 830 WCCO 1029 HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Streaming live on the Odyssey.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Federal prosecutors are told they cannot seek the death penalty against Luigi Mangione in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Odyssey New York's Mary Lynn Buckley.
Luigi Mangione's attorney, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, speaking out after a federal judge ruled the death penalty is now off the table.
Just wanted to thank the court for this incredible decision. We want to thank this amazing legal team that we have here. It's really wonderful. Thank all the people who come out, stand here in the cold.
This is officially a non-capital trial with jury selection expected to begin September 8th.
We're all very relieved, but we anticipate fighting these charges.
Mary Lynn Buckley for CBS News, New York.
The Justice Department releases over 3 million pages linked to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche.
I can assure that we complied with the statute, we complied with the act, that we did not protect President Trump, we didn't protect or not protect anybody.
The files by law were supposed to be completely released last month. Meantime, Blanche says of the probe into the killing of Alex Pretti in Minneapolis last weekend.
The Department of Justice Civil Rights Division has the best experts in the world at this. They've been doing it for decades. And so I expect that investigation will proceed.
Actor Catherine O'Hara has died after a brief illness. Her rep says she died today at her home at age 71. O'Hara appeared in Home Alone, Beetlejuice, and the TV show Schitt's Creek. She most recently appeared in Apple TV's The Studio.
The job makes you stressed and panicked and miserable. But when it all comes
President Trump is maintaining pressure on Iran amid satellite imagery suggesting that it may be trying to restart its nuclear and missile programs.
The president has sent a U.S. naval carrier group to the waters off Iran.
They have to float someplace. They might as well float near Iran.
Trump also told reporters he believes Iran is taking notice.
I can say this, they do want to make a deal.
The president's remarks come amid protests in Tehran against the Iranian regime and the economy. Thousands of protesters have been killed, although Trump says Iran has pledged not to execute hundreds through hanging. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
After finding debris and a body, the U.S. Coast Guard in Massachusetts says it has launched a search for the fishing vessel Lily Jean about 25 miles off Cape Ann. President Trump says his nominee to replace Jerome Powell as Fed chair in May is former Federal Reserve Governor Kevin Warsh. Bankrate Sarah Foster.
The decision to keep interest rates steady, it was broadly supported. So the Fed looks like it's prepared to move to the sidelines for the foreseeable future, and one official change might not really alter that course.
Stocks closed down on Wall Street. This is CBS News.
Real crimes, real justice. Follow and listen to 48 Hours on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Minnesota's trusted voice. Every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Sunny, 11 degrees, wind chill of 4 below zero at 3:03. I'm Laura Oakes.
Minneapolis, make some noise for yourself!
And they are an endless sea of marchers winding their way through downtown Minneapolis this hour, speaking out against the actions of federal agents.
Our constitutional rights are being trampled. They're literally murdering people in the streets. They're arresting journalists. There goes our First Amendment right. If we don't rise up, then we're done.
It is a huge issue, what's going on and what we're witnessing happen to our neighbors.
It's important for us to show up to keep our constitutional rights.
Down the block at the historic First Avenue nightclub, an afternoon concert for solidarity and resistance.
Rage peacefully, of course.
I've been ready to rage, baby. I've been ready to rage.
Minneapolis is an inspiration to the entire nation.
At least 1,500 were in attendance, and many more stood outside just hoping to hear a snippet of the show.
If you asked to see Bruce Springsteen at First Avenue, it would be a one-of-a-kind experience.
As for the show itself,
through broken glass and bloody tears on the streets of Minneapolis.
That was really cool. They just bring out Bruce Springsteen.
Can't go wrong there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was uplifting and sad and strong at the same time.
At First Avenue, Ari Bergeron, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Leaders in the Minnesota press community condemning the arrests of two journalists, former CNN anchor Don Lemon and local independent journalist Georgia Fort.
Fort was taken into federal custody for documenting a recent ICE protest at a St. Paul church. Protesters and legal counsel described the arrest as a direct assault on First Amendment protections. Vice President for the Center of Broadcast Journalism, Harry Colbert Jr.
Georgia Fort is in federal custody for doing her job. And if we leave here with anything today, let's leave here making sure that the main thing stays the main thing. Journalism is under attack.
Inside City Hall, I'm Taylor Rivera. News Talk 830 WCCO.
A federal Border Patrol agent assigned to Minneapolis is charged with third and fourth degree DWI. A criminal complaint says 31-year-old Alfredo Mancias of Corpus Christi, Texas, was arrested by the State Patrol in St. Paul early Tuesday morning, where they say he had pulled his car over to the side of the road and was found slumped over the steering wheel and covered in vomit. And a couple of sports shockers today. The Twins parting ways with President of Business and Baseball Operations Derek Falvey, and the Vikings firing GM Kwesi Adofo-Mensah after 4 seasons. That one a bit surprising considering the team signed him to a contract extension just last year. WCCO News Time is 3:06.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
394 eastbound, a crash being reported between Louisiana Avenue and Xenia Park Place. That's over in Golden Valley. Things are slow and go on westbound 94 through the Spaghetti Junction. A little slow coming out of there. We have a fender bender up on 94 westbound. That's by the Fish Lake interchange between Hemlock Lane and 694 in Maple Grove. That one will cost you about 7 minutes. That's a look at the roads. I'm Darren Kmeyer, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
And with that, here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Yet another chilly night tonight as we fall back to 3 below. Then the warmer air kicks in.
Plenty of sunshine tomorrow with a high of 17. Even warmer on Sunday with a high of 26. That's above average. What's stealing the headlines? The Clipper system that brings some light snow. Could yield 1 to 2 inches. We should stay in the 20s for highs into next week.
Sunny right now, 11 degrees at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Experience matters.
You're all here because you're the best of the best.
News Talk 830 WCCO. You're thinking about it. Jason's talking about it. There are no breaks on bold takes here. Buckle up. This is Drive Time with DeRUSH. Now, live from Minnesota's biggest microphone, here's Jason DeRUSH.
All right, we've been watching a very large turnout in Minneapolis. Another Friday of protest. Around the country, this has been a national day of action. And to be honest, I'm surprised by the turnout that we're seeing in downtown Minneapolis. So many businesses have not closed today, saying they just can't. They can't absorb the hit. Welcome to Drive Time. It's Jason. We've been streaming live pictures out of the window here at WCCO Radio. Protesters have been marching from the government complex, City Hall on one side, the Hennepin County Courthouse on the other, right down 7th Street. And this is, I don't know, it looks like, Dan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 city blocks, looking at the overhead pictures, with the street pretty much completely full of people walking. 651-461-9226 is our number. You're welcome to chime in if you're out there with the crowd. It's a different vibe than last week. It's a smaller turnout, but to me, a surprisingly large turnout. And it goes to, I think it goes to the passion on this issue. I really thought what was going to happen today is that, much like so many Minneapolis and St. Paul and suburban and greater Minnesota businesses said, you know what? We're not closing today. We can't. We can't do it because we've had enough pain and we need our employees to make money. We need to make money. We need to keep the lights on. Let's go to Taylor Rivera, who is out in the middle of this, and she was in the middle of it last week as well, so can give us some perspective. Taylor, where are you at, and can you just sort of set the scene for us?
Yeah, Jason, I am down by the Marriott. It says 45 South 7th Street is where I am right now. We filled the streets this time, but I'd say there's hundreds more than thousands out here.
Yeah, big difference for sure in turnout, but I will say, like, when I saw the initial gathering over at City Hall, it was, this is organized by students, largely university groups,
Yep.
student groups. This is not the highly organized labor union-driven effort we saw last week. So to me, I'm surprised at how big the turnout is.
Yeah, as I was telling Chad last hour, a lot more profanity in the message this week. Not sure if that's because it's younger people or what the case is, but it is still.
Well, after the last week, I think people are more mad too. And it's a little warmer, isn't it? It's a little warmer than it was last week.
It's a little warmer, but it's still cold. I think what I'm hearing from a lot of students is they want to see local leaders out here with them. I talked to some people who were asking, where is Mayor Fry? Where is Governor Walz? And where is the mayor of St. Paul? They want to see their local leaders supporting them.
It's very interesting because you did see a lot of those local leaders out last week. I think, I wonder about the message where, to a certain degree, I know like a lot of my friends who work in restaurants who were out there protesting last week, they feel like today should have been the day for the rest of the country to sort of pick up the burden and do the work where, Minneapolis has been living in this every single day.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, I just feel like it's more organic today. It may not be as organized, but there's definitely a lot of anger out here on the street.
Interesting. Taylor, 6 city blocks or so, that's about how long it is?
Yeah, I'm not sure where we're headed. It looks like we're headed towards Target Center once again. But I've been just following the procession down here to see where people are going.
Yeah. All right, very good. We'll let you get back at it. Taylor Rivera, back outside our window. Traffic is starting to move again. Well, the street's sort of empty right now, but cars are moving. I think it's very interesting. Last week, the protest for me was an inflection point. It was a point where I had been critical of the fact that there was this labor union pressure to close so many businesses at a time where already cold weather, slow January, and then you slap on top of it the ICE agents in the street, the employees who are afraid to come. It felt like a bad idea, right, to hurt ourselves when the protest is against the federal government. But seeing it on Friday, I think I was wrong. Because I think it was very powerful to see so many people in the 40 below zero wind chill. And it wasn't the, how do I say this without being offensive? I don't think I can. It wasn't the weirdos. It wasn't the protest class. It wasn't the kind of same people you see protesting all the time. It was everybody. So to me, I found that moving. Today, I think if you're looking at any of these pictures, how do you find today? 651-461-9226. I am surprised. I'm looking at live pictures in Los Angeles, in New York, and in those communities, they've done the same deal. No work, no school, no buying. So people can protest. To a certain degree, I really feel like today is about everybody else's job. It is not Minneapolis's job today to stop work, to fight about people who are open or are not. Today, if you're going to do anything today, you should go out and support your local retailer, your local flower shop, your local hardware store, your local garden center. Obviously, we've talked a lot about the service industry. If you could book an overnight stay in a local hotel, I mean, those are the kind of things I think Minneapolis should be doing today. Students and people want to organize a walkout, a march, and a protest. Wonderful. Do whatever you want to do. But when I think about you and me and what regular people want to do to support our community, I think it's everybody else's turn to deal with this. Now, Taylor did mention that some students were frustrated that young people or that city leaders and mayors and the like were not out there marching. And there is a U.S. conference of mayors that has been going on. I'm not sure if Mayor Fry is back here in town. I don't know. I mean, to me, what we need is not like city leaders out protesting. I don't know. To me, that does nothing for me. I would rather see them trying to figure out what our path forward is. And if the feds are doing what they said they were going to do this week, if what Tom Bovino said, like I'd like to know if that is happening or not. Mike is in Woodbury. Mike, I sort of feel like it's the rest of the country's day to protest. We did it, and doing it again, I don't get much out of it. Where are you at?
Well, I don't I don't condemn or condone any of all the turmoil that has been triggered off by the federal government, which has resulted in a violence in even right in Minneapolis and everything. Yeah, it's very unfortunate that two people had taken their lives. Whether or not their lives were taken, whether or not if they were deliberately trying to provoke someone or they're trying to rescue someone, trying to prove a point or whatever. But yeah, it's really just unfortunate that the turmoil and everything, it's becoming very volatile. But and today, like I said, I'm not going to let, the protests, whether they're peaceful or hopefully they won't get very volatile to the point where someone will wind up getting hurt pretty severely.
I mean,
you know
it just
what I mean?
looks like people are walking through the streets. Taylor said there's more profanity. It's a little rougher around the edges, but all the live pictures of the crowd that was coming by our building, you know, nothing, no big deal, you know.
Yeah, because I have a second job at U.S. Bank Stadium, and they have the home improvement show that's taking place over the weekend, and hopefully, when I go there to work, to help, mean, with the event and everything, I'm not going to let any of these few hotheads or whatever make any attempts to deter me from, trying to do a job, or if I'm going to go want to buy something or get a bite to eat or a glass of wine or whatever, which I've done a few times in the past in Minneapolis. I'm not going to let some of these miscreants make any attempts to deter me or whatever, and I'm not gonna hesitate.
All right, I got you. All right, thanks, Mike. Thank you. Texter's saying, we are on the world stage for the second time in 6 years for a catastrophe. When the governor and the mayors do national interviews, they should be from Lake Harriet at the Arch Shanties, or from Lake Nokomis Pond Hockey Tournament, or from the Lopit, because people are canceling trips to the state of Minnesota because they don't see any safe positivity about our cities. I get that. I have tried, like in my appearances, I've tried to spread some positivity about the Twin Cities as well. And, like, the mayor would get just absolutely destroyed if he was at a pond hockey. Like, I understand that idea. And part of the deal is, like, you got to talk to every reporter you can and be like, hey, make sure you come back and, check back on it. Texter Jason, still don't feel it's safe. Will not take my family downtown for dinner. We were downtown a few months ago at a wedding at a hotel on Hennepin, and police were everywhere all night. I get that. I just disagree. On my way to work today, I was passing hundreds and hundreds of volleyball players.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up, too.
Yeah.
In terms of, people canceling stuff, that may be going on to some degree, but the convention center is chock full of volleyball players for a tournament, and they were all over the Skyway today coming in. So
yeah, and I think, to me, I don't mind seeing police all over the place at night. I like it. Makes me feel safer. But you had to make your choices. I get it. Lots of texts coming in. So if you want to keep talking about it, we will. I want to talk about the big shakeup in our professional sports teams as well. How about that today? The Twins and the Vikings both getting rid of their top front office executives. Rough day to be a big shot on a sports team, that's for sure. Busy day. We got you covered on all of it here on Drive Time.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Finding excuses to not do your taxes? Unsure where to start? Sounds like you may be suffering from FOMO, the fear of messing up. The cure? Filing your federal and state taxes for free using TurboTax on Credit Karma. All you have to do is start and finish filing on your own in the Credit Karma app by February 28th. Just keep in mind, this offer is available only if you didn't file with TurboTax last year. It's time to break free from your fear of messing up. Start filing for free today in the Credit Karma app.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH
This sounds like torture to me.
on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Lots of texts talking about Minneapolis. Our cities are great. ICE is not. One sign said, my dog is better trained. Another texter says, people who bitch about not wanting to come downtown because it's unsafe have never been downtown. We're from the burbs and visit regularly for events and restaurants with no concerns. This goes to something that I've talked about before, which is the unwillingness of people to sort of adjust their narrative to the fact that the facts have changed. I don't think it was unreasonable to be nervous about your safety in downtown Minneapolis, in 2010 or 2020, rather, 2021, 2022 even. And certainly there's a higher likelihood of chaos, in the 2 a.m. hours. But I'm down here every day. I'm down here almost every night. I've never felt unsafe. And I understand, some people do feel unsafe. And I think what makes this conversation difficult is that some of you guys legitimately do feel unsafe, and some of you are full of crap and just talking trash about the big cities. And it's destructive. It's destructive for the state. I don't understand it. I don't understand why people take such glee in taking a dump on their state's biggest cities. I liked this state better when people were proud of Duluth and proud of Brainerd and proud of small towns and big cities and not such at war with each other. I don't know if people think that it makes them feel better by taking a dump on somewhere they don't live or don't ever go to, but I think it sucks. I hate it. It is the most annoying discourse in this state to me. And that is saying something, because there's a lot. It used to be city people always ripping on suburbanites. And boy, that got me going, because I lived in the suburbs and worked in the city. And if the city is failing, you are a suburb of nothing. If the city is failing, your small town in greater Minnesota has no money to do everything that you're doing. So this sort of us against them stuff is so counterproductive. It's so counterproductive. Jason, downtown Minneapolis on a Friday or a Saturday night after about 7 is sketchy at best. I would not bring anybody downtown for any entertainment activities after dark. And I think what the texter meant to add after that is, unless it's a big country music show at US Bank Stadium, then it's safe.
There are areas of downtown Minneapolis I wouldn't bring people after that period of time, but it's not the whole.
And that's true in almost every city,
right?
Right.
Yeah, there's certain just areas of town.
We used to not have this, maybe.
The areas that I'm thinking of have always been kind of sketchy.
Been a little sketch.
So, and then it gets worse and it gets better at times. But, are there areas? But would I be afraid to go, to Target Center? Absolutely not. Would I be afraid to go to the Orpheum? Absolutely not. Guthrie? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
US Bank Stadium? Absolutely not.
And I think most people aren't. I think people like to say they are. It makes them feel good. This texter says, I was shot at on the light rail a few years ago, and I still feel safe downtown. Yeah, remember when we had Jazz Hampton on, who was running for mayor, and his car was stolen from in front of his house
For the third time, yeah.
There is a certain toughness that, and a certain amount of resilience that I do not recommend for people. If my car were stolen 3 times, I think I would move. I don't think I would tough it out like that. But, Andrew's right. That, he doesn't get this anti-downtown redirect. I think it's mostly people with no stakes in it. Now, I say this with caution because I am discussing where we're at today. And a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I do think there were more valid concerns. And I hate to dismiss the concerns because I think part of the problem that Minneapolis had with crime getting out of control is that the elected officials were so conditioned to be defensive about the city that I think their eyes were not open to the fact that a lot of these nuisance crimes, the things we call nuisance crimes, it's no nuisance to you. That is what really makes you feel unsafe. And so the car thefts or the purse snatchings or the cell phone grabbings, those things were a real issue. Should you always be careful when you're in a city? Yes. And if you hate the city, fine. I just don't get the gleeful proclamations of how much you hate it. To me, this makes zero sense. It's destructive for wherever you live. So what's the point? Do you get a little jazzed up? You're like, yes. Oh, I just ripped on the cities. Ha ha. Just so strange to me. I don't understand it. We will get back maybe at the end of the hour. We'll talk a little bit about something. Look, I never cheer for somebody to lose their job, but to have the Vikings, after a season where the quarterback that we let go is now the quarterback of a team in the Super Bowl, I didn't think they'd take personnel action based on that, and they did. And for the Minnesota Twins, who are saying we're bringing a different approach, for all of you who said, it's another poll ad, just a brother, same bit, seems like it's a different bit to me. So I like it. I like both of these moves. So we'll talk about that as we continue as well. But next, I want to bring in Joe Tamburito, who's going to help us through something that I have a lot of questions about. As a former TV journalist, when I see Georgia Fort, who is a journalist, she has been on this show in a Jason Talks the Media segment, and Don Lemon, who is a CNN anchor and now is doing his own show on YouTube, when I see the federal government arresting these two, immediately it makes the hair on the back of my head stand up. Yeah. What are we doing when we're arresting journalists? So what are the laws? What are the laws when it comes to protecting the journalists? Do they have any extra protections as compared to any of you guys? We'll talk about that with Joe in just a minute here on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Chris Lindahl wants to buy your house. He wants to give you a big red check. It's Jason here for my friend, Chris Lindahl. I've known Chris for a long time. And he is a good man. A Minnesotan. He's one of us. So you see him on the billboards. But it's not just billboard, Chris Lindahl. I see him at the Gophers games and the Twins games and the Vikings games. He's out and about in our community because he's one of us who wants to help you succeed. And right now, there's been a massive change when it comes to the guaranteed cash offer. Massive change. So for a long time, the biggest group of people doing the guaranteed cash offer and getting a delivery of a big red check were people who need to sell fast. They need speed. They need, maybe it was a death in the family or a job change, so you got to go out of state, or you inherited something. It was perfect for them. You know, you don't have to fix up your house. You don't have to do anything. Just Chris takes all that stress. But what's changed is now more and more people are doing the guaranteed cash offer just because they don't want to deal with the open market. It's so unpredictable. People are flaking out at the last minute. So maybe the guaranteed cash offer is good for you. Go find out. ChrisLindahl.com. Get that guaranteed cash offer and cash your big red check.
Twins pitchers and catchers report on February 13th. Jason DeRUSH reports just 3 days later. Drive Time is heading to Fort Myers to get the early lowdown on how our hometown 9 is taking shape. Live broadcast from Hammond Stadium start Monday, February 16th. Presented by the islands, beaches, and neighborhoods of Fort Myers and the Margaritaville Resort at Fort Myers Beach on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Everyone needs to take care of their mental health, even running back Bijan Robinson.
When I'm on the field and feeling the pressure, I usually just take a deep breath. When I'm just breathing and seeing what's in front of me, everything just slows down. It just makes me feel great before I run the play.
Just like Bijan, we all need a strong mental game on and off the field. Make a game plan for your mental health at loveyourmindplaybook.org.
Love your mind.
Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation, the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation, and the Ad Council.
The new era of UFC on Paramount Plus continues. Live from Australia, featherweight champ Alexander Volkanovski.
He is an animal.
Defends his belt at home in an explosive rematch against Diego Lopez.
You gotta be kidding me!
And the always dangerous Dan Hooker.
Yes.
Throws down with powerhouse Benoit Saint-Denis in a high-action lightweight showdown.
There's never been anything like this.
Let's go. UFC 325, Saturday, January 31st, only on Paramount Plus.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things are moving well on 35 headed south out of Minneapolis. It's a little tight if you're headed north on 35W. That starts at about Lake Street. 169 northbound, there's a crash between Pioneer Trail and Anderson Lakes Parkway. That's in Bloomington. The car's on the shoulder. It's headed the wrong direction, so they got to get that one turned around. 94 westbound out of the Fish Lake Interchange. It's starting to get congested over there in Maple Grove, so just be aware of that. That's a look at the roads. I'm Darren Kmeyer, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, let's see what the weekend's going to feel like. Here is Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
We chill out again tonight under a mainly clear sky, falling back to 3 below. Then finally, we start to warm up around here. Plenty of sunshine tomorrow with a high of 17. Even warmer Sunday, up to 26. But we'll be dealing with some light snow. Not a lot, maybe an inch or two, but it could create some slick spots out there. Highs will stay in the 20s next week, maybe even the 30s by late next week.
Right now in downtown Minneapolis, it is 10 degrees and sunny on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
I woke up this morning and looked at Facebook, and Twin Cities journalist Georgia Fort was live. It was about 6:15 in the morning, and she was saying that outside her door, federal agents were there with a warrant for her arrest. And so she did about a 2-minute video explaining what her situation was at that moment. Later, we would find that Don Lemon was also arrested. Both of them arrested in relation to that absolutely awful storming of a church service by protesters and activists in the city of St. Paul. And 3 of those people have been charged. But the 2 journalists, and we'll get into are they journalists or are they not, because it is a fair question. It's a different level here. And Joe Tamburino is with us to share some insight on this. Joe, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
It is always a concern to anybody who cares about the First Amendment when journalists start getting arrested. In this climate, it is difficult sometimes to know, are we talking, is this person a participant or is this person a documenter? And I think that is, does that even matter from a legal perspective?
Well, yes, it does in terms of a defense, because what Mr. Lemon and other people are being charged with is not only disrupting a religious service, but conspiring to deny the constitutional rights of someone else. So specifically here, what they're saying is Mr. Lemon and these other individuals conspired. That means they got together to decide to accomplish something that was illegal. And not only did they disrupt, but they were preventing people from exercising their religious rights. So it does matter why you were there. Were you there to document and write an article, or were you there to actually disrupt and prevent others from exercising their religious rights?
The feds shopped this around for a while before they got. This is what concerns me, where you say, all right, one, don't federal prosecutors have something more important to do? This is not important. It's not important to take these 2 and lock them up. You can argue whether it's important or not to lock up the ringleaders of this protest, where you say you got to send a message that you can't just storm into a church service. And I'm willing to have that debate. I don't see how this is a deterrent in any way to protest activity like that.
Well, I agree. And, I do not agree with the disruption of the church service.
Absolutely.
And I think if any prosecutor wants to do something about that, there are misdemeanor crimes available. Even the federal government can charge a misdemeanor crime of disrupting a religious service. So that's one thing. But to actually go for, not mandatory, but up to 10-year imprisoned felonies on this is a little bit much. So, yes, I disagree that they stormed that religious service, but I think what they're doing here, especially with journalists getting involved, will have a very negative effect on the First Amendment rights of others.
Now, journalists can't just do anything. I mean,
that's right.
If someone were conducting a bank robbery, for example, and they asked you to come cover it, I would expect a journalist to get charged for being a party or being an accessory, right?
Right. And that's what they're trying to argue in this indictment. This indictment has what's called 29 overt acts. Here's what that means. Jason, if you and I got together and said, hey, let's go rob a bank, your example. Well, just us talking about it, that's not a crime. Right. However, if all of a sudden we said, let's go rob a bank, and then one of us bought a gun, got a getaway car, bought masks, those are what's called overt acts in our conspiracy. So what the federal government is saying in this indictment is we have all these overt acts showing that these individuals conspired. However,
questionable, right? That in this case, like just being informed about something and showing up with your camera to cover it, that is not conspiring to be a part of it.
No, it's not. And normally in these situations, here's where journalists will get into some trouble. If Mr. Lemon simply had stayed outside of the church, no problem.
Right.
By going in, could he be guilty of trespass? Was he asked to leave? I mean, I'm sure they were all asked to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could be guilty of
trespass would be reasonable,
sure.
I guess. Still,
right.
I would say, where's your prosecutorial discretion? Right. But whatever, you hate the media, you hate Don Lemon, fine.
Right.
Like, this is part of life.
Right. And usually that would be the only jeopardy that a journalist would be in. But you mentioned something that's very interesting, which is, well, we could debate what a journalist is. That's absolutely right. Now, Don Lemon is a journalist. I mean, he's been around forever. He was on CNN. I think we could all agree on that.
It doesn't matter that he has his own independent show now.
No, not really. I mean, first of all, there's no legal definition of journalist. There's not.
You don't have a card.
No,
you're not in the club.
You don't have a card.
And today, anybody with a camera could argue that they're a journalist.
Well, that's the situation. That's the big gray area because, yes, you could say, hey, I'm a journalist. I'm here just documenting this. And that's why I think, this indictment is going into such detail because they're trying to say, well, no, you were really part of this conspiracy. However, from what I remember of viewing some of these videos, I thought Mr. Lemon said a number of times, I'm not with this group. I have no affiliation with this group. I'm here to do whatever it was. So I think he's got a really good defense.
Texters, I think, and a lot of commenters to me today are just so mad that anyone would invade a church.
Sure.
That they don't care. They're like, we don't care. It doesn't matter. As soon as you walk in, you are part of violating someone's First Amendment right to worship. I do think there's value in documenting it. I mean, that's part of what journalists do,
Well, first of all, there are laws already that if you disturb a religious service, yes, like I just discussed, the misdemeanor one, absolutely. So there's a law already there. There are also local laws. You can do disorderly conduct, trespass. Absolutely, you could do that. But what the federal government is going for here is literally a felony conspiracy where someone could get up to 10 years in prison. And I think that's a bit of an overkill here.
Yeah. Joe Tamburino is with us. One of the other points that people have made to me today is there were people who were writers or photographers in the January 6th insurrection that were also arrested and charged. But I would say I went and looked at those cases. They're like, where's the outrage for that? It was a very different form of writing. It was, these people were well, first of all, they were all pardoned, right? So we got that. But very, very different than this. I'm not saying like you need to have awards to be like, oh, you're a journalist, or you need to have been affiliated with CNN, or like Georgia Ford had her own news organization, other things like that. I do think regular people can be functioning as journalists. But what happened on January 6th, to me, as you read those criminal complaints and what those people were accused of doing, very different.
Yes, and that what gets to this. I mean, Jason, you would be considered a journalist. I think by any stretch of a definition, you would be. Now, you're a radio host, but still, I mean, your background is in journalism. However, I think what journalists should be concerned about, I mean, mainstream journalists, is all of these quote-unquote citizen journalists, because that is a gray area. I mean, you pick up your phone, you hit record, and you run into a church or a protest or whatever, and you say, okay, I'm documenting this. Perhaps you've never written an article in your life. You don't have any education in journalism. You have no idea what the First Amendment is, whatever it is. I mean, there's a number of things.
You use it as a cover.
You'll use it as a cover, yeah. That should be, it would be like this. It would be like somebody saying, I'm a citizen attorney. Well, really? I mean, it's you got to do more to be an attorney than just be a citizen attorney. And I think you got to do more than just saying that you're a citizen journalist.
Do journalists have more protections than the average person does?
Only in the sense of providing testimony. You've heard of these type of laws that protect a journalist from disclosing sources. Minnesota has one of them. Oddly enough, the federal law does not have. There is no federal law saying we protect journalists, but many states do. So you do get extra protection that way in terms of if you were called to testify.
Joe Tamburino is with us. I want to break, and when we come back, I want to talk about Luigi Mangione.
Sure.
Because that's another huge story today. He is not going to face the death penalty at the federal level. And I think it's probably the right call. I'll talk to you and see what you think about that when we come back.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now is the time. Now is the time for you to reach out for some help to get you to a life-changing moment. It's Jason. I know this sounds like big talk. But it's not. It's real talk. Livia absolutely changed my life. Livia Weight Control Centers is making things so easy for you to jumpstart your weight loss. And what I think is amazing right now, compared to when I started 4 years ago, where I did the nutrition plan, which I loved, I had coaching, accountability, incredible success, 45 pounds gone. I've kept that weight off for 3.5 years. Now, what they have now is all the medical options. My gosh, the GLP-1 choices that you have, and now Olivia is prescribing the new Wegovy pill. So that is an oral GLP-1. They also have hormone replacement therapy available. It's all about options. It's all about medically guided care, focusing on your education, your individual choice, and your personalized decision making. It's not about quick fixes. I wish. I tried all those. I bet you have too. It's about choosing a weight loss plan that fits your life. So take the first step today. 855-GO-LIVIA or visit the website. It is livia.com.
I was ordering food for the office from the same few places for too long.
For workplaces suffering with office food fatigue, every day's a struggle.
Before starting Easy Cater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine. Ask your app store about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
394 eastbound is getting a little clogged up, starting at Park Place Boulevard over to the tunnel, headed through the Spaghetti Junction there on the backside. 169 northbound, there's a crash between Pioneer Trail and Anderson Lakes Parkway. That's in Bloomington. The car's on the shoulder, kind of facing the wrong way. The police are on scene. Up in New Brighton, 694 headed east starts to slow at Silver Lake Road all the way over to 35. That's a look at the roads. I'm Darren Kmeyer, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, the forecast for this weekend, it's going to feel warm, but it is not going to be warm. It's all by comparison at this point. Tonight, our low is 3 below. Tomorrow, the high is 17. And then Sunday, we get up to 26. Chance of a little bit of light snow. Well, maybe more than a little bit. 1 to 2 inches? That's light snow? I guess. All right. Right now, it is 10 degrees on CCO.
Jason DeRUSH.
I mean, the truth is, I am a terrible influence on Minnesota, on America, and perhaps the world.
Well, I've known that for years, but other people are just finding out.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Legal talk with Joe Tamburino. There's something every day, Joe, that's for sure. And we are still waiting for a couple of federal court decisions about what's going on with ICE here in the Twin Cities. I wondered if we get one today, but so far, no.
No.
Maybe they're giving us a break because a federal court in New York dropped the death penalty charge against Luigi Mangione. He, of course, is the guy accused of assassinating the chief executive at United Healthcare, Brian Thompson, in 2024. Why did that go down? What happened here?
Well, basically, in a nutshell, what the judge is saying is that the legal reason that the government has to get the death penalty in the federal charge is about stalking. And the judge said, by law, this stalking charge is not a crime of violence and therefore can't be used to enhance his charge, which means make it greater so that he could receive the death penalty. It's a very legal ruling. It has, it has great bearing on the case because he's not facing the death penalty. However, he's still facing life in prison.
Is this sort of a case, and the reason before the break when I said that I agree with taking the death penalty off the table in this case, is this a case of the federal government trying to take what is essentially a state crime, homicide, and turn it into a federal case with all these other, like, oh, maybe we could get him on this kind of charge, and that way it's just not what I would normally think of as a federal death penalty case.
That's correct. Normally, something like this would not be. However, as long as the federal government is able to establish some type of jurisdiction, crossing state lines, anything like that, then they could get into federal court. And the jurisdiction has been established. The problem with their indictment and what they've done is with the stalking in particular. But, again, he's still facing life in prison. Yes, it's a win for him. I would imagine the Department of Justice is going to appeal this. They can, but I don't know.
The federal case there, jury selection scheduled to start in September on that. And as you and I were talking about in the break, Minnesota cannot get 1 second out of the national news.
No.
Because the 36-year-old who Wednesday night was arrested for impersonating an FBI agent trying to get Luigi Mangione out of jail with a pizza cutter is, of course, from Minnesota.
Of course.
Mankato guy.
Of course.
Mankato guy. So in the complaint, there's the picture of the pizza cutter and the driver's license that he had on him, which, of course, we can't get.
And don't forget the barbecue fork, which is just up at the very top of that picture.
That's true.
So he had the pizza cutter and the fork.
I've never planned a jailbreak, Joe, but a rather dull pizza cutter at that, and a barbecue fork is probably not going to be my go-to.
Well, right off the bat, this whole thing with the fork, with the pizza cutter, nobody who knows about pizza uses a fork to eat pizza. You don't use anything to eat pizza. You use your hands.
That's right.
So right off the bat, this guy is not an authentic pizza connoisseur.
Well, he might be one of those Polyeyes pizza fans from Mankato. They're a strange breed. They're a strange breed down there. I don't know. All right. One more question I wanted to ask you, because we've been hearing a lot about some of the technology that here in Minnesota ICE has been using, and some questions about, these facial scanning, recognition, all of this stuff.
Right.
Is ICE getting access to Ring video? I mean, there's so much technology out there. I think a lot of us don't think about the number of ways that we're giving away our privacy to companies and then hoping that the companies are taking care of it.
Exactly right. And here's the rule of thumb that everybody should know. As soon as you go into the public realm, like say you leave your house to go shovel your driveway or mow your grass, as soon as you're out there in public, even though you're on your own property, somebody can take a picture of you. You have a very low expectation of privacy. Quite different if you stay in your house. People are not allowed, and the government's not allowed to take some super scope and look into your, bedroom.
Sure.
However, as soon as you go outside, they can do that. When you're driving a car, if you roll down your window to look out and see, gee, what's happening across the street, you're in the public realm. They can grab your photo. The problem is now that photo goes into different private companies that are contracting with the government, and who knows where it goes. In fact, in the New York Times today, there was an article about this very particular problem and someone losing their global entry privilege. For some reason.
Because they were scanned and they figured out the person and they...
Right. They were involved in some type of protest or interaction with ICE, and the next thing they know that they're global entry. So, that's a pretty scary proposition. I mean, you're not committing any crime, and the next thing you know, your TSA, pre-check or your global entry is now canceled. But people should be aware, when you go into public, you're fair game. Yeah. Anybody can take your picture. The government can take your picture. And then as soon as they get your picture, with all the AI and all the technology, who knows where it goes?
It is weird. Like, I interviewed a guy that I've known for 20 years who was following an ICE agent. And the ICE agent, they stopped at one point, and then the ICE agent drove right to his neighborhood, right to his house.
Sure, yeah.
So it was like they knew who he was. They wanted him to know, I know where your house is. It's chilling stuff.
And the facial recognition is so good nowadays.
So good.
Take for instance, I recently renewed my driver's license, enhanced driver's license, and they tell you now you can't even smile. No teeth, no like cheese, nothing like that. You could do a little smile, but they want to get your face as is, just like in a passport. You can't smile in a passport. So it's amazing where this technology is going.
Who do you think deserved to be fired more, Derek Falvey or Kwesi Adofo-Mensah? Who do you think?
That's a tough one. I personally would just clean house. I mean, I still can't get over that, the irony of things. You got Darnold, we release him, and he's about to win a Super Bowl, I think. I think he is. He's about to win a Super Bowl.
You kind of have to fire
You got to
the general
fire.
manager.
You do. You have
They
to.
said it wasn't just one thing, but I would be okay if it was just that one thing.
You do. You got to clean house. Of course, our coach, no, absolutely not. But, everybody else, you might have to do some things.
Yeah, I think same with the Twins. Like sometimes you own your own business. Sometimes you have to send a message that like you really mean it, that it's a new direction. And sometimes you got to fire people.
And
good
sometimes you
people,
do.
whatever, like that's just part of the deal, I think. Yeah. Joe, appreciate it.
Thanks for having me
coming in. Drive Time has a lot coming up in the next hour. We are going to play card DeSharks, so we're going to have some fun. Tonight, I'm going to go to the Ice Bar, and I know, like any of these ice sculptures, ice bars, it's not the best branding right now. It's not the best branding. I'm going to the Ice Bar in Minneapolis tonight, but it's just a frozen bar at Butcher and the Boar. So you can win $50 to go to any Jester Concepts restaurant when we play card DeSharks. You know what? Since you're listening, if you want to call, you can call now if you want to play. 651-461-9226. We'll take 2 contestants. I'd love if you've never played before. And we'll do that after local news here on CCO.
The week ends the week thinking she thinks we look at each other.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS or go online at carsforkids.org to donate today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel. Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast!
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Comprehensive coverage, consequential context. News Talk 830 WCCO, KMNB HD2, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Always streaming on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. A huge rally is taking place right now in downtown Minneapolis in protest of the immigration crackdown being carried out by the Trump administration. A march around Minneapolis County buildings is expected to follow the rally. The turnout is in response to a call for a nationwide day of action following the killings of 2 people in Minneapolis by federal agents. CBS's Ian Lee.
Bruce Springsteen made a surprise appearance at a benefit concert in Minneapolis, singing his new protest song, Streets of Minneapolis.
2 dead left to die on snow-filled streets, Alex Pretti and Renee Good.
Proceeds are going to the families of Alex Pretti and Renee Good.
Other rallies are taking place across the country, including in San Antonio, Texas.
This is state terror, really, and it shouldn't be part of our politics. Shouldn't be part of our immigration response.
The Senate begins voting on a funding package with a partial government shutdown deadline hours away. CBS's Nicole Killian.
This is basically a deal to split off government funding. There are 6 bills bundled into a package that fund a variety of government agencies, defense, state, labor, education, and other departments, but it also includes the Department of Homeland Security. So what Democrats have been pushing for and were ultimately able to secure in an agreement with the White House is to split off that DHS funding.
The agreement to avoid a partial shutdown will need the approval of the House, which is not expected to return to Washington until Monday. CBS's Wendy Gillette on what's new in the latest release of Jeffrey Epstein files by the Justice Department.
The newly released files include an email in which convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein asked Tesla founder Elon Musk to join him in the Caribbean for Christmas in 2013, along with filmmaker Woody Allen. Another released email is from First Lady Melania Trump to Epstein's co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell in 2002, congratulating her on a nice story about Epstein in New York Magazine and signed, Love, Melania.
Actor Catherine O'Hara has died. She was 71. CBS's Matt Wolf looks back.
Toronto native Catherine O'Hara was a writer for that city's famed Second City sketch comedy troupe, then as Gilda Radner's understudy.
You're not going to blow me up, are you?
When she left, O'Hara became a regular alongside the likes of Eugene Levy and John Candy.
Kevin!
In the 80s, new levels of fame, starring in hits like the Home Alone films and Beetlejuice.
You can't put a price on dignity.
She also starred in TV hits like Schitt's Creek and The Studio with Seth Rogen. Matt Wolf, CBS News.
Stocks closed down on Wall Street. This is CBS News.
Follow and listen to CBS Mornings on the go on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Minnesota's trusted voice. Every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Mostly clear, 11 degrees at 4:03. I'm Laura Oakes.
I saw 4th Street. No justice, no peace. I saw 4th Street.
Hundreds of demonstrators again filling the streets of downtown Minneapolis today, demanding justice.
This comes after the second killing of a Minnesota resident, Alex Pretti, at the hands of federal agents on January 24th, further engaging the community on the issue.
The flag is important. It used to mean something, and we got to keep it meaning what it used to mean.
A lot of people are feeling helpless and hopeless, and I think it's really important that people come together in a community like this.
This gathering was organized by a coalition of student and community groups, but remains focused on demanding the withdrawal of ICE agents and accountability for recent fatal shootings involving federal officers in the city. In downtown Minneapolis, I'm Taylor Rivera, News Talk 830 WCCO.
A federal magistrate judge orders the release of local independent journalist Georgia Fort following her arrest by federal agents at her home this morning. Fort was detained in connection with her coverage of an anti-ICE protest inside a St. Paul church earlier this month. Former CNN news anchor Don Lemon was also taken into custody early this morning in Los Angeles. The judge rejected the U.S. government's claim that Fort's actions constituted a crime of violence, and so she should be detained. The Justice Department has opened a federal civil rights probe into the killing of Minneapolis nurse Alex Pretti by Border Patrol officers. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche saying they're looking at everything that would shed light on what happened that day and in the days and weeks leading up to what happened. A once-in-a-lifetime experience at First Avenue nightclub in downtown Minneapolis this afternoon.
In our chance of ice out now. My city's heart and soul persists.
Music legend Bruce Springsteen making a surprise appearance at a benefit concert.
It's a real time of hardship and a lot of just profound hurt kind of all across our state and all across the country. But being in there, it's a great reminder of how much community there is. You know, the musicians were great. The entire crowd was just so in it together. It was very beautiful.
100% of the proceeds will go to the families of Renee Good and Alex Pretti. Couple of sports shockers today. The Twins parting ways with President of Business and Baseball Operations Derek Falvey, and the Vikings firing GM Kwesi Adofo-Mensah after 4 seasons, owner Mark Wilf.
This is a critical offseason. Ultimately, we felt the change was necessary in football operations and did not feel comfortable going forward into this offseason with the current leadership.
The move comes as a bit of a surprise considering the team signed Adofo-Mensah to a contract extension just last year. WCCO News Time is 4:06.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Highway 36 westbound, a couple cars got tangled up over there between Hilton Trail and Viking Drive, just outside the 694 loop. Be on the lookout for that one. 169 northbound is slow and go from Riverview up to 494 due to that accident. They're still in the process of getting that cleared. That's over in Bloomington. 35E northbound from Cayuga Street to Roselawn is seeing some slowing, so just be prepared. You might add a little time there. That's a look at the traffic. I'm Darren Kmeyer, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
And here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Yet another chilly night tonight as we fall back to 3 below. Then the warmer air kicks in. Plenty of sunshine tomorrow with a high of 17. Even warmer on Sunday with a high of 26. That's above average. What's stealing the headlines? The Clipper system that brings some light snow. Could yield 1 to 2 inches. We should stay in the 20s for highs into next week.
Mostly clear right now, 11 degrees at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Still Minnesota's heartbeat. News Talk 830 WCCO. Good questions. Topics you'll probably talk about at dinner. Places to go for dinner. This is the Ride Home Reimagined. Welcome to Drive Time with DeRUSH. Now, here's Jason DeRUSH.
You know, every day I wake up and look at the phone that has the date on it, and I'm like, it's still January? My God, are you sure? Are you sure it's still January? It is. Drive Time. Just sort of a casual day in the news today, right? The Epstein files, another large batch released. The Minnesota Vikings fired their general manager. The Minnesota Twins mutually agreed to separate with the president of baseball and business operations. A couple of journalists arrested for their role in a disgusting storming of a church. I would say their role covering it. Anything else I missed? Luigi Mangione gets the death penalty goes away. The feds have agreed to investigate. I mean, it's just, and there's a national day of protest going on. Things seem to be settling. I shouldn't say settling. Nothing was really out of control. But as far as people being in the streets and that affecting your drive home, perhaps, that seems to be calming as well. So with everything calming, would you say right now, Dan, everything's pretty chill? We're pretty good right now?
I'm feeling so mellow, man.
My golly. What a day. Why don't we play Minnesota's fastest growing afternoon high-low card-related game. We call it Card DeSharks. The Boss played today at the Avenue First. The place so packed, it was ready to burst. Never a dull moment, or so it seems these days. Play Card DeSharks now. It's Friday's new craze on Card DeSharks. Kristen Olsen, always getting it done. Two great contestants. One from my old stomping grounds of Maple Grove. Vikes is with us. Hello, my friend. How are you?
How are you, Jason? I'm doing great.
You know, I'm a little tired after this week, but it's good.
Tell me about it.
Or this month, or this year, or whatever it is. But my goodness.
Just be glad that neither of us are in the Epstein files, right?
Yeah, well, yes, that's true. That is true. I mean, it would be astonishing if we were in there, but you know. Some folks having a bad weekend discovering that. Stand by because Joe is in Becker. We've got the northern burbs represented. Hi, Joe.
Hey, how are you guys doing today?
We are outstanding. We are outstanding. What's going on in Becker? What are you doing in Becker tonight, Joe?
Probably just gonna watch Harry Potter with the kids because they're addicted to that.
How old are your kids?
I got 4. I got a 12, 10, 5, and 3-year-old.
Oh my gosh, yes. You are right in the thick of that. That's pretty fun.
Oh, yeah.
I remember those days with my kids and the Harry Potter, and then the first time we went to like the Harry Potter world is it at Disney World or Disneyland?
Universal.
Oh, Universal, yeah. I have some very embarrassing photos of my now 18 and 20-year-old wearing goofy hats and holding like Harry Potter wands. It's pretty lots of blackmail for the kids when they get married someday, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. That's really what parenting is about, just collecting various items that you could use as blackmail with those kids to embarrass them some future day. Well, here's how we play our game, Card DeSharks. It's a survey of 100 people. So 100 people get a survey, and then off we go. So Vikas will get the first question. He'll give an answer between 1 and 100. And then Joe will say higher or lower. That's it. So here we go. Vikas, first question goes to you.
Yep.
We asked 100 bartenders, have you ever literally seen a patron cry in his beer? How many bartenders have said, yes, I have seen a patron cry in his beer? Have you ever cried in your beer, Vikas?
No, I don't think so. I probably by the time I got to that point, I may have just passed out.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it feels about right. I'm trying to think if I've ever cried in my beer.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I'm a bit of a crier though. I cry, but I cry only at stupid things. Like sometimes TV commercials or TV shows make me cry. Real life does not usually make me cry.
No. But those that do cry, alcohol's the avenue to help them feel better, right?
Yes, or maybe the cause. Hard to say. What do you think? How many bartenders have ever said, yes, I've seen a patron cry in my beer?
I'm thinking it's going to be just over half, so I'll say 53.
53, says Vikas. Joe, have you ever cried in your beer?
That's personal.
That's fair. That's fair. It was really none of my business. I'm sorry for asking. How about Vikas said 53. Do you think the actual number of bartenders who have seen a patron cry in their beer is higher or lower than 53?
Oh, it's got to be higher.
Joe says higher. The actual number of bartenders who have seen a patron cry in his beer is 70. 70. So way higher. And that is good news for you, Joe. You get control of the cards. Behind me, I have 5 cards dealt out. Top row is red. Bottom row is blue. You get to pick your color, Joe. Do you want the red or the blue?
Let's go blue.
All right, Joe goes blue. If you want to watch Card DeSharks, you can watch on the live video stream. So you can see the cards. We have a giant oversized board. You can stream the show on the WCCO Radio Facebook channel, on the WCCO Radio YouTube, or on DeRUSH J on X. All right, Joe, you picked the blue, right? I was doing so much jibber jabber, I forgot. Joe, your first card is an ace. Nice start for Joe in Becker. Ace is higher or lower than an ace?
I'm going to guess it's lower.
Yeah, I feel real confident in this one. Lower than an ace, it is an 8. An 8. So you are right in the middle, and now you have a choice. Whenever you want to stop, you can freeze. You also can roll the dice and say higher or lower than an 8. So it's your choice, Joe. If you freeze it, preserve your progress, and we go on to another question. So up to you. What do you want to do on the 8?
I'm a gambling man, so I'm going to go for it. I'm going to say we're lower.
I love it. I love a gambler. Lower than an 8. It is a 10. It is higher. So that's a bummer for you and a chance for Vikas where you get a free shot at the board, Vikas, and you start with a 7. Not a great one, but it's a free shot, higher or lower than a 7.
Nothing to lose. Let's go higher.
Higher than a 7. It is an ace. It is higher. Uh-oh. Vikas, you're on that ace. You want to go higher, lower, or you don't want to freeze on an ace?
No, we'll go lower than that ace. Just don't be an ace, baby.
Lower than an ace. It's a jack. It is lower, and you are 2 cards away from victory. And I am 2 cards away from having to kill another segment. So that's what I get worried about here, Vikas. You're on a J. It's a jack. You know, Cook's over there laughing at me. All he has to do is play a ding or a buzzer.
Sure.
I'm flipping cards.
I got a free go at it. Let's go lower than a jack.
All right, I like it. I like the spirit. And I like the ignoring our own little drama going on here, too. Lower than a jack. It is a 7. It is lower. And Vikas, now you can be a gambler or play it conservative. What do you want to do?
No, we're going to stop on that 7.
All right. Stop on the 7. Should we break? Why not? I got to reload the board. So a couple cards to deal out. We'll break with Vikas in Maple Grove, Joe and Becker. Fun times with Card DeSharks. Back in a minute here on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, winter is not slowing down, and I know a lot of you are looking for things to do this weekend. May I recommend Winter Solstice at Viking Lakes? Yes, it's a 90-day celebration of winter fun, and it's going on now through the end of February, through February 22nd. It's all free. This is so cool. Dan and I were out at Viking Lakes where they have an ice rink. They have right now a speakeasy. There's a speakeasy-style pop-up bar Wednesdays through Friday through February 8th. So another week or so of that. But they've got so much to do. There's an ice path you can walk, stunning ice sculptures. As long as it doesn't get too warm and those things are around, you get it for free. Warm up in the warming house, powered by Xfinity. There's trivia, bingo, live music, and more. There's a nightly open skate. You can lace up with some rental skates there. Ice golf. Yes, you can get a bucket of balls and just let her rip. They got wine tasting. Just so much stuff, so many surprises. You can find out exactly what's going on. Plan your visit. Right in Eagan. It's the home of the Minnesota Vikings. It's a beautiful facility, and it's family fun for free. WinterSolstice.com.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
The new era of UFC on Paramount Plus continues. Live from Australia. Featherweight champ Alexander Volkanovski.
He is an animal.
Defends his belt at home in an explosive rematch against Diego Lopez.
You gotta be kidding me.
And the always dangerous Dan Hooker. Yes. Throws down with powerhouse Benoit Saint-Denis in a high-action lightweight showdown.
Oh! There's never been anything like this. Let's go.
UFC 325, Saturday, January 31st, only on Paramount Plus.
Save more on the brands pros trust at Lowe's. Right now, get up to 35% off select major appliances and choose from our wide lineup of top brands. Plus, save $100 on a Little Giant 22-foot multi-position ladder, now just $189. Built for strength, flexibility, and job site versatility. Pros, these savings will only be here for a limited time. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 1/30 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH, video streaming live on YouTube and always, and I mean always, on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
We are so grateful to our friends at Jester Concepts for their support of Card DeSharks. So I love that. Come on to any of their restaurants. They need the support. Their business has been slow with the weather and with January. And they're just phenomenal people with so many great spots. PS Steak, right on Loring Park. I'm going to be at Butcher and the Boar after the show today. So if you come to the Ice Bar at Butcher and the Boar and tell me you heard me talking about it today, I'll buy you a drink. How about that? So good stuff going on there. Parlor, now open in Excelsior. And they've got all the Rusticas, a bunch of Rustica bakeries, too. So lots of good spots to check out. The winner of our game today will get a $50 gift card to the restaurant of their choice. All right, here's where we're at. And the YouTube crowd is certainly second-guessing Vikas's decision. They're saying that you should have gone on the 7. That's what I like. I like the sort of the keyboard quarterbacking here.
That was me commenting.
Oh, that is you. All right. Oh, you're commenting on your own play. I thought people were giving you grief.
I was thinking about it. I'm like, I should have gone for it, but I got 4 in now. I just need one more, right?
You just need one more, and you cannot lose your progress, so you're in good shape. Yeah. But, Joe, you get the next question. And the next question is to 100 third graders. You just ran through the list of your kids. You don't have a third grader, do you?
No, fourth.
All
Fourth
right.
and sixth.
Pretty close. So we asked 100 third graders, which is worse, getting spanked now or having to wait until Dad gets home? How many said waiting until Dad gets home is worse? We're not all doing the spanking anymore, but I certainly was threatened with the wait till your dad gets home when I was a kid. What do you think? How many said waiting till Dad gets home would be worse?
I mean, this question would have been easier 20 years ago.
Yes. I know. I feel like a lot of the kids, do they even know what you're talking about when you ask that question?
I'm going to say 33.
33. Vikas, what do you think? How many would say waiting for Dad to get home would be worse?
I think it's higher than 33. The waiting, the anticipation of the punishment that's coming is worse than just getting the punishment and getting it over with.
Just get it over with. I think for me if my mom unloaded on me, it would be way worse than my dad. My mom was tougher than my dad.
I mean, the counter argument is if you stretch out the amount of time until the punishment comes, maybe mom and dad cool out a little bit and maybe you don't get whacked,
Yeah. The wait till Dad gets home. My mom, now I was a good kid. Did you ever get spanked?
Once.
Yeah, you still remember it, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
I was spanked, but my mom my brother was more of the troublemaker in the family. And my mom alleges that she never did any of these things, but I certainly remember the threat of them, but that she would be like making boiling water to make pasta, and she would threaten to hot him. She never did it. She never did it.
Child Protection Services may have been good.
Well, today it would be like the lead story on the news. Back then it was just parenting. It was, I think we've moved in the right direction on that stuff. That's for sure. All right, Joe, you said 30. What did you say? 30.
33.
33, and Vikas said higher. The actual number of third graders who said they would rather wait instead of getting the punishment. Who said
no. They're more afraid of waiting.
That's right. Who said waiting is worse is 31. It is very low. I think the kids just don't understand it. How about that? Joe, good news for you. Back in my day, the answer would be like 80 would have said it's worse to wait. But you get a free shot at the not a free shot. You get a shot at the cards, and you're still on that ace, Joe. So I assume you want to go lower. What do you say, higher or lower than an ace?
Lower.
Lower than an ace? It is. It's a 10. And now, higher, lower, or freeze on the 10?
We're going to go lower.
Lower than a 10? It is. It's an 8. You're getting these middle-of-the-road cards here that are tricky. You're on an 8. You can freeze on the 8, or you can, you're a gambler, I've been told. Higher or lower than an 8. What do you say, Joe?
I'm gonna gamble it. I'm gonna go lower this time.
All right, lower than an 8. It is a 7. It is lower.
Wow.
Oh.
That's a huge pull.
And look at this board. We've got on the top Vikes with a 7, Joe with a 7, both with 1 card to go. Joe, you've got the board. Do you want to go for it, or do you want to freeze and then we end up with a 1-card sort of playoff at the end here? What do you say?
No, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to stay higher.
All right. For $50 at Jester Concepts, higher than a 7, it is a 10. It is higher. Oh,
Nice play. Nice play, Joe.
Heart-pounding action there. How about that? Congratulations, Joe. Very good. Vikes, if you called the 7, would you have gone higher or lower?
I would have gone lower.
Lower, and it was a 4. It would have been lower. Oh, man. Vikes, thanks for playing. Thanks for listening. Good to talk to you.
Thanks a lot.
Joe, you stay on the line. You get $50. You get to use it at any of the Jester Concepts restaurants you want. So come on down. They've got a bunch of restaurants at Excelsior now, a parlor. There's like a noodle restaurant there called Shiki, Mirabelle also, but so many great spots. So congratulations. Stay on the line. Dan will get all your info, okay?
All right.
With all those kids, you deserve a night, like maybe a date night with that 12-year-old watching the kids,
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That's right. That's right. Put that kid to work. Joe, stay on the line. Very good. That was Card DeSharks. We appreciate Jester Concepts and their support.
I mean, 8 is kind of the ultimate middle-of-the-road card. So you pull a lower there and get it by that one. I mean, that was huge. That was the whole game right there.
It's pretty fun.
Amazing.
Pretty fun.
Well done by Joe.
All right, good stuff. And if you missed it, you want to watch it back, you can check it out on, you can rewind while the show is happening. So if you go to YouTube, type in WCCO Radio, click on live, you can rewind and watch the action. Pretty fun stuff.
Plus, we do clips every day. There's shorts that come out at times. It's really a great idea just to follow at WCCO Radio on YouTube, and you get all of the drive time with DeRUSH content you could possibly want, and probably a little bit more than you want.
Maybe,
that's fine.
Maybe too much. Maybe,
you can sift. You can select.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Right.
It's up.
And it's free. You don't pay anything to be on YouTube.
Sort of hard to believe that it's free if you think about it. But then we got the shorts. Should social media be banned under 15? Are you on team pancakes or waffles?
Clearly it's pancakes, but...
You spelled waffles wrong on that
I
thing.
did.
Yeah. I didn't notice until now.
I didn't either.
Who cares? It's fine. But yeah, all sorts of fun.
You're typing, things happen.
I know. Dan and I do all of this ourselves. So if anything's screwed up,
blame our boss.
Yeah, you can address your email complaints to our complaint department, which the email address for that is idon'tgivearip@odyssey.com. So you just idon'tgivearip, all one word.
And those go straight to Chad Hartman. So there you go. It'd be great.
That's where it goes. We're going to break in a minute. Chef Sean Sherman, owner of Owamni, the Native American restaurant, James Beard Award winner, runs his own nonprofit. He has gone to Washington, D.C. to talk about what is really the next level discussion in the wake of all of the ICE activity in Minnesota, and that is, are we ever going to fix immigration laws? What Sean and a number of restaurant and other business owners from around the country are asking for. We'll talk about that when we come back.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO. You probably came for the breaking news. The severe weather and winter storm reports, or maybe for Twins baseball. Can we convince you to stay for the conversations?
The president so urgent to protect protesters in Iran when we've got protesters here who have been put in the line of danger.
Listen longer.
Worst of the worst violent offenders in Minnesota are the locally grown gang members and carjackers, not illegal immigrants.
And hear the difference.
We all want to turn down the temperature, but what we really mean is we want everyone to agree with what we want them to do.
News Talk 830 WCCO.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-932-5858. That's 800-932-5858. 800-932-5858.
It doesn't get better than a Lexus, and it doesn't get better than the incredible people at Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. It's Jason DeRUSH. So proud to talk about my friends at both of these spots. They are so dedicated to our community. They've stepped up to help us raise money to end hunger in Minnesota, and they're so dedicated to your experience. When Alyssa and I were test driving with Matt at Lexus of Wayzata, I just love how focused he was on what she wanted in a new SUV, making you feel comfortable. Matt has been doing that for 30 years. Jeremy in Maplewood for more than 2 decades. He started as a tech in the service bays. So let me tell you, he knows these cars. And what amazing cars they are. Hauling kids to soccer or hockey. Check out the 3-row Lexus TX. That thing is a beauty. I am in love with the tech-forward NX. Smart displays, intuitive wireless connectivity, and killer sound. Take a chance to experience amazing. Get to Lexus of Wayzata or Lexus of Maplewood for a test drive today.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
494 eastbound from Highway 100 over to Cedar is starting to get congested due to some higher volume. Highway 10 westbound between Foley Boulevard and Egret Boulevard in Coon Rapids is a parking lot due to a crash. That slowdown starts at 610. Highway 51 southbound, 2 cars on the shoulder between County Road C and 36. That's in Roseville. Gawkers are kind of slowing traffic over there. That's a look at the roads. I'm Darren Kmeyer, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, CCO forecast time, and as the weekend is here, a lot of people planning activities, maybe going to enjoy some winter. Here is Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
We chill out again tonight under a mainly clear sky, falling back to 3 below. Then finally, we start to warm up around here. Plenty of sunshine tomorrow with a high of 17. Even warmer Sunday, up to 26. But we'll be dealing with some light snow. Not a lot, maybe an inch or 2, but it could create some slick spots out there. Highs will stay in the 20s next week, maybe even the 30s by late next week.
I mean, I feel like an inch or 2 is not nothing, right? It's light. It's not like, go to the grocery store to get ready for it. Right now in downtown St. Paul, it is 9 degrees and sunny on CCO.
Jason DeRUSH.
You are hitting on all cylinders today.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now they say they're here to uphold the law. They trample on our rights. If your skin is black or brown, my friend, you'll be questioned or deported on sight. In our chance of ice out now, my city's heart and soul persists through broken glass and bloody tears on the streets of Minneapolis.
That is from Minneapolis photographer Chad Davis, who was inside First Avenue, and that sound from his feed on X. Pretty cool moment. And I got to tell you, I think yesterday a lot of us were looking at the Bruce Springsteen song when it was released, or was that Wednesday, I think? streets of Minneapolis and thinking about it like, oh, what do you think of the song? What do you think? And I got to tell you, people I know from all over the country were reaching out to me saying, like, can you believe, like, how big of a deal what's happening in Minneapolis is around the world? Like, I think when we did our segment on that the other day, one of the last things that I said was that the biggest thing about this song is it is a reminder to those of us who are sort of living in it right now that it's broken through. And when Bruce Springsteen does a protest song about your city, it is a reminder of how big of a deal it was. Now, today's appearance at this concert, I like how the Star Tribune's Chris Riemenschneider described it in their live blog at startribune.com. A not-so-surprising surprise performance. I mean, when they said a special guest, and yeah, I mean, you sort of knew what was going on there. Bon Iver, who is from Wisconsin, lives in Eau Claire, but he's in the Twin Cities all the time. He also has released a live recording of a new song called Naeem, Can't You Hear Crying, to help raise money for the Immigrant Law Center of Minnesota. So that is available right now. Raise 100% of proceeds go to the Immigrant Law Center of Minnesota. Lots of efforts going on today. You know, it takes a little while to kind of get all of this together, right? So like today, the Restaurant Recovery Fund called the Salt Cure Fund was just launched. And my friend Stephanie March, who used to be the food editor at Minneapolis St. Paul magazine, she is one of the co-founders of this Salt Cure Restaurant Recovery Fund. And I do think, like, a lot of texters don't believe it. They don't believe it when I say that businesses are struggling right now. And I get why you don't believe it. If the place you go to is jam-packed at the time you go there, you think it's fine. Everything's fine. But it's kind of like during COVID, like everything's not fine. I was at a restaurant last night in St. Paul, and the general manager was telling me how he wakes up early in the morning to drive employees to the restaurant or to pick up groceries or to pick up their dry cleaning because they are fearful to leave their homes. And then on top of it, business is down 20, 30, 40% compared to the year before. So one way you can help is thesaltcurefund.org. So that's another option for you if you're looking to do something. I have been curious when the conversation about what's going on in the Twin Cities was going to go to the bigger issue, which frankly has been ignored by our elected officials for more than 40 years. Ronald Reagan was the last to actually change much about immigration laws in this country, kind of creating a pathway for a bunch of Latino immigrants to become naturalized citizens. And since then, we've had conversations. Remember George W. Bush running for office saying he was going to be the compassionate conservative who was going to reform immigration laws. Never happened. Congress never did it. Bill Clinton tried. Barack Obama tried. Everybody's tried. Nobody's done it. And I've always questioned how much they really were trying. There's some political benefit to having this as a wedge issue. But I think right now we have an urgency. And Chef Sean Sherman from Owamni, he has his own nonprofit as well. He is just back from Washington, D.C., where he was talking about all of this, and he's with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Sean, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Tell me what, well, you started with an open letter that you sent out to the food, not just chefs, but the food industry, right?
Absolutely. I was in Sundance Film Festival last weekend, and I was doing some panels, and I was talking with a lot of people. And there was a lot of interest, of course, as to what was happening in Minneapolis. And I realized that people were very largely unaware, like how bad it is, you know. And so when I got back Sunday night, on Monday morning, I started putting together a letter, and I called my friend Ann McBride from she works at the James Beard Foundation and does a lot of advocacy. So she helped me put together a quick letter to start asking for signatures from the food world, because I wanted to try to use the language that they use in Washington, is that, you know, putting aside all of the racial profiling and violence and murder and constitutional violations, like, this is actually starting to erode our food system to completion rather quickly right here in Minnesota. And I wanted to kind of raise the alarm, because chefs are deeply connected to a lot of larger platforms, and I just think we need a lot more support to get some voices out there to talk about, like, if this spreads to other cities, then this could be a really bad deal. So we were able to get about 1,500 signatures in a couple of days. I packaged it up, and Tina Smith's office said they would receive me. So I flew out to D.C. yesterday and went straight to Tina's office, and I was met up with my friend Ann, and she was with a cohort of other food industry leaders from around the world, and Jose Andres' chief of staff and his daughter, and another friend I have working with Jose, I think he's the director of the media, they all were there with me in the office, and I was able to talk with Tina, who's obviously largely aware of what's going on, but just talk about how this is hitting us, you know, and how, you know, like, even myself having employees, assaulted at gunpoint and one of them taken away, and was in Texas within 24 hours, and just seeing the drop in food business. And, you know, so my message was that this is going to hurt every sector. It's going to hurt farming, it's going to hurt food production, manufacturing, distribution, restaurants, tourism, and all this is going to start to crash, you know. So we need some restrictions, we need some accountability, we need to rethink this whole situation, and that was the message I wanted to get in front of them.
Sean Sherman is with us. He is a James Beard Award-winning chef. He founded the North American Traditional Indigenous Food Systems, Natives. You got more than 1,000 signatures. I mean, these are chefs from these are the biggest chefs in the Twin Cities. You name their ethnic background: white chefs, Latino chefs, Asian chefs. You got everybody on this thing. And I think
Absolutely.
it's because we understand, like, right now, what's happening in Minneapolis is it is a crisis, but we have to get to the bigger conversation about, like, all right, what are we going to do as a country? What are we going to do to make an immigration system that does have a legitimate pathway to citizenship for people who've been here and are just busting their butt, like, trying to take care of a lot of us, you know?
Yeah, and I think that, you know, what's happening right now is not right, because, you know, all of us in the restaurant industry are worried about our employees, you know, and we're not just out there hiring illegals. That's not what's happening. We have people with legal documentation, all of their paperwork's in order, they've got social security numbers and all of those things. Like, they're picking up just people based on racial profiling, you know, and like my employee, he was from Ecuador. He had all of his paperwork all there, but they shipped him to Texas before we could even catch a breath, you know. Yeah. And so we're still battling with that situation, but we all know what's going on. We're all watching social media, and this is not the right way to do this, you know. So, and again, like, if this continues and it spreads to other cities, this is going to be bad out there for everybody. If you like restaurants, this is going to crash restaurants.
Yeah, I think, you know, can you talk a little bit from what other restaurant owners and what you have been dealing with? I had mentioned that last night I was talking to a general manager of a restaurant who is essentially working around the clock, you know, driving his employees to work. He said he's been tailed, picking up dry cleaning for his employees just because, and they're American, they're here legally, some American, some on work permit. But they're scared that they're going to get snatched up and then sent off to Texas before they have a chance to prove that they're here legally.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what people are seeing, is that they're just picking up people without, even if they have the paperwork, they're just taking them in. And a lot of it is racial profiling. And we shouldn't have to worry about our workers coming to work and having federal agents pull guns on them for not doing anything, just pulling into work, you know. And I think that everybody is feeling the same situation, and I'm very proud of Minnesota for standing up and creating this large network of support, of getting people safe rides to work, getting people groceries when they're too afraid to go to the grocery store, and just, being out there to alert when some of these agents are dangerous, because they're undertrained, they're over-militarized, and they shouldn't be roaming the streets in masks. And so we need some major changes right now, and this is just unacceptable, and this can't be our new reality.
When not to make you the spokesperson for the Native community, but you know that community better than most, and there have been Native American Minnesotans who have been picked up. I mean,
absolutely.
Just,
and so our
the
staff
preposterousness
is
of
Native,
that.
And we're worried, but where are they going to send us to, but still it creates fear, and fear should not be a U.S. policy in America. We need to change this right now. And that was the urgency that I went there to really kind of show, the people who gathered with me, with people from Jose Andres' team and everybody else that was with me, and Tina Smith, to really talk about how urgent this is. We need to make some changes right now. We can no longer continue to live with what we've been living through.
Sean Sherman is our guest. Do you have any optimism based on some of the stuff that we've heard about this week? A change in personnel here, a pledge to no longer be just grabbing up random people, to actually be, following the way ICE always has done things in this area?
We just have to see, because so far they're not playing by any rules, and we felt very unsafe as an entire city because our state hasn't really offered us any protection. Our city is pretty tied up with just dealing with what's going on, and we don't really feel like they can do it because we're also outgunned. They have way more agents than we'd have police force here. And, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Things are moving fast in Washington right now. But it's deeply affecting our city because they're trying to make a point with us. But again, I think we can do this. We don't really have a choice. We have to continue to just stand up for ourselves, to support each other. And, I've built a small platform, and I'm just going to make some noise with some of the connections that I've made.
Sean Sherman, we appreciate the time. You got that time with Senator Tina Smith. She's been very outspoken on all of this. And we'll see if there's action at the congressional level in the coming 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Sean Sherman, using the fact that he does have that national platform from winning the James Beard Award and trying to make a difference in the now, but also hope that as we move forward, we have a real conversation about what we want to do in this country. It is 4:48. Such a busy day. Oh, my goodness. And then we learned that Catherine O'Hara died. Such a great, great actress. We'll talk about that. What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite role? And why is it her role on Schitt's Creek? We'll talk about Catherine O'Hara in just a minute on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, I got an email this morning from Kevin over at JH & Sons, and I made a note to make sure I tell you guys about it because JH & Sons is doing their winter clearance right now. Right now is the winter clearance, and this weekend is your last chance to say it. Now, when I talk about JH & Sons, I always talk about the experience and the premiumness and how special they're going to make you feel and the service you're going to get. It's not the kind of place where you're like, this Sunday, buy a sport coat and get, that's not the bit. You want the best. And for the best, you go to JH & Sons, and through the rest of the weekend, everything from fall and winter seasonal inventory is 50% off. Shop this weekend and save 50% off at JH & Sons. And their sport coats, which a lot of these sport coats would be regularly priced $800, $900, $1,000. Select sport coats are $399. All seasonal sports shirts and 5-pocket pants, $99 right now. These prices are bonkers. So this weekend is your go time. Come to JH & Sons. They are at the Galleria in Edina, and you can be on the email list too. Kevin will email you all these great deals if you go to jhandsons.com.
That's the sound of James adding long-lasting Gain scent boosters to his laundry this morning. Several hours later, James sniffs the irresistible scent of Gain on his shirt. Gain. Several hours later, James has even caught the attention of his mother-in-law, and she never gives him attention.
Ooh, you smell amazing, James.
Oh, thanks, Mom. I love you too.
I never said that.
Add Gain scent boosters to your laundry. Add joy to your day.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55. But unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
Save more on the brands pros trust at Lowe's. Right now, get up to 35% off select major appliances and choose from our wide lineup of top brands. Plus, save $100 on a Little Giant 22-foot multi-position ladder, now just $189. Built for strength, flexibility, and job site versatility. Pros, these savings will only be here for a limited time. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 1/30 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
We have an accident on the right shoulder on Highway 36 westbound at Snelling Avenue. Be on the lookout for that one. Still have the incident on Highway 10 westbound between Foley Boulevard and Egret. It's a parking lot over there. Slowdown starts at 610. Find an alternate route if possible. Slow traffic on Highway 169 northbound between 16th Street and Betty Crocker Drive. I'm Darren Kmeyer, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Washburn-McCreevy Funeral Chapels and Cremation Services has been providing compassionate and personalized service for over 160 years. Honor your loved one and ensure your own wishes are met. Call 612-377-2203 or visit washburnmccreevy.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, CCO forecast time brought to you by Washburn-McCreevy Funeral, Cremation, and Pre-Planning Services. Tonight, the low will be 3 below. That's fine. You know, it's winter. Put on a hat. Tough it out. Tomorrow, 70. Now we're cooking, right? Mostly sunny, double digits. Sunday up to 26, but could be some light snow, 1 to 2 inches. And we stay in the 20s next week, which is right about where we should be. Right now in Brooklyn Park, it is 10 degrees on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH, video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Oh, hello, you. I'm film and television's Moira Rose. Won't you join me for a little stroll through the slice of paradise I like to call the town where I currently am?
Children, keep an eye on these bags. Apparently in hell, there's no bellman.
What the hell happened here?
We've been robbed. Right now, some local is pawning my earrings for crank.
Moira!
Oh, Moira.
I cried myself to sleep.
Moira
Bed's soaking wet.
Is it blood?
No, there's a leak in the ceiling. There's a brown disgusting.
Did we need this today?
I
don't know. You guys know that, like, celebrity deaths, for me, are, I don't know, like, I don't get that worked up. People die. Is that too callous? I don't know. Like, I'm sad about it, but, like, I didn't know these people. But maybe it's just, maybe I'm like extra sensitive right now because of the deluge of news that we've been under. But the death of Catherine O'Hara which was so sudden, no one knew that she was ill, has just, you're like, oh, it's not fair. It's not fair. She was, I just loved how weird she was in this movie, or in Schitt's Creek. She died at her home. She was 71. Lots of reports that there was like an emergency call early in the morning around 4:30 or something to rush to the hospital. We don't know what the short illness, that's all her reps are saying. But she comes from this sort of oddball Canadian group of comedians, the SCTV group. I don't know if you guys remember that from back in the day. Home Alone, Dan. Like, I think that is...
That's probably the most successful movie she was ever in, and
Yeah.
that certainly boosted her career to new heights. But I do think you're right that most people that really appreciate her work, it centers around the Christopher Guest series of films that she was a part of, the kind of that troupe that you mentioned. And then specifically her chemistry with Eugene Levy was unique. Those two were together so many different times in Schitt's Creek, in all of these movies. And just there was a vibe, there was a rapport, there was a whatever you want to call it, that they could play off of each other that was just special and always funny, always entertaining. Chad was talking about some of those movies earlier today.
Best of Show, they were a married couple.
That was a big one. A Mighty Wind was always my favorite personally,
Yeah.
but that's, I'm biased because I was in choirs growing up, and so I got, because of that folk music scene that they parodied there. It was, but there's so, Best in Show. There's just so many different ones. She was just a special talent and a big loss to the entertainment community.
Beetlejuice. Texter saying that was one of their favorite roles. Beetlejuice. Yeah, there's something about, like, she was a scene stealer. Macaulay Culkin posted, "Mama, I thought we had more time. I wanted more. I wanted to sit in a chair next to you. I heard you, but I had so much more to say. I love you." So sweet. Those kind of actors who are linked forever through that one special role. CBS News coming up. Lots of local news. Stay right here on CCO.
Get ready for Bingo for Broomsticks with Ducks Unlimited, February 28th at Gold Nugget Tavern and Grill in Minneapolis. Doors open at 11 a.m. with bingo starting at 12:30. Play for your chance to win firearms and great prizes. Register now at mndu.org.
Here are the latest real reviews from real people who said yes to a guaranteed cash offer on their house, got their big red check, and a fresh start in life.
The guaranteed cash offer was a lifesaver. Leslie.
I wish I had more homes to sell, because if I did, I would do it this way every time. Scott.
If you want to sell your home quickly and for a fair price, go with the guaranteed cash offer. They helped me and my family get a fresh start in 3 weeks. Janice.
Apply for your guaranteed cash offer today at chrislindahl.com.
Stop dreaming and start driving. Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood are your Minnesota homes for the stunning looks, the latest technology, and the best local people. Experience amazing. Get to Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood today.
Let's ring in the new year by finally checking off something that actually matters. Your old videotapes and photos are fading more every year. VCRs are disappearing, and the clock is ticking to save your family's most important memories. Hi, I'm Adam Baselogger.
And I'm Nick Mako. We started Legacy Box to help you preserve your memories by converting all your videotapes, photos, and film reels into digital files. And this year, it's easier than ever.
Introducing our biggest kit yet, able to hold up to 80 videotapes or film reels or 2,000 photos. It's perfect for big collections. You can even send in old DVDs, memory cards, flip phones, or early generation iPhones.
Legacy Box is truly the easiest New Year's resolution you'll ever keep. Just fill your box and send it in. As the world's largest digitizer of home movies and photos, all work is done in the U.S., and we're trusted by over 1 million families.
Start the new year right by rescuing the moments you haven't watched in years. Go to legacybox.com/radio for an incredible 55% off. That's legacybox.com/radio for 55% off.
The first word on what Minnesota's talking about. News Talk 830 WCCO, KMNV HD2, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Always streaming on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Anti-ICE protests are being held across the country today in Providence.
Not walk
And in downtown Minneapolis, thousands have been taking part in a rally and march, including this woman.
I'm just here to put it in the face of people who don't understand that people are being taken from the streets without due process.
In a case stemming from a recent Twin Cities protest, the Department of Homeland Security says former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been charged with federal civil rights crimes in an anti-ICE church protest. Lemon has said that he was there as a journalist chronicling protesters. New York lawyer Robin Nunn.
This case turns on whether the government can show probable cause, the line into criminal conduct. These are serious federal rights, civil rights charges, but they hinge on conduct, not speech.
Meantime, the Justice Department is participating in a civil rights investigation into the death of Alex Pretti. Voting is underway in the Senate just hours before a partial government shutdown deadline. CBS's Nicole Killian on Capitol Hill.
Lawmakers are voting on 5 appropriations bills to fund agencies like the Defense Department, Labor, HHS, the State Department, Treasury, but they're going to split off the Department of Homeland Security funding, only funded through what's known as a continuing resolution for the next 2 weeks.
Millions of Justice Department Epstein files are released. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche says they include more than 2,000 videos and
they include large quantities of commercial pornography and images that were seized from Epstein's devices, but which he did not take or that someone around him did not take.
Emmy-winning comedic actor Catherine O'Hara has died at her Los Angeles home after a brief illness, according to her talent agency. The Canadian-born actor appeared in Home Alone, Beetlejuice, and in 2000's Best in Show.
He didn't want to dance. I was like dancing by myself.
I did not want to dance because...
Catherine O'Hara was 71 years old. President Trump announces his nominee for chairman of the Federal Reserve. We have CBS's Linda Kenyon.
Kevin Warsh is the president's choice to succeed Fed Chairman Jerome Powell, whose term expires in May. President Trump has been very critical of Powell over his interest rate policy. When asked if Warsh committed to cut interest rates as President Trump has demanded of Powell...
No, but we talk about it, and I've been following him, and I don't want to ask him that question. I think it's inappropriate, probably. It probably would be allowed, but I want to keep it nice and pure.
Warsh's Senate confirmation could be rocky. Republican Tom Tillis says he will oppose any nominee until the administration resolves its prosecution of Powell. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
This is CBS News.
Take control of your financial life. Follow and listen to Money Watch with Jill Schlesinger on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Minnesota's trusted voice, every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Mostly clear, 10 degrees at 5:03. I'm Laura Oakes.
Minneapolis, make some noise for yourself!
And they did. An estimated few thousand marchers wound their way through downtown Minneapolis this afternoon, speaking out against the actions of federal agents in the city.
Our constitutional rights are being trampled. They're literally murdering people in the streets. They're arresting journalists. There goes our First Amendment right. If we don't rise up, then we're done.
It is a huge issue, what's going on and what we're witnessing happen to our neighbors.
It's important for us to show up to keep our constitutional rights.
And down the block at the historic First Avenue nightclub, an afternoon concert for solidarity and resistance.
Rage peacefully, of course.
I've been ready to rage, baby. I've been ready to rage.
Minneapolis is an inspiration to the entire nation.
At least 1,500 were in attendance, and many more stood outside just hoping to hear a snippet of the show.
If you asked to see Bruce Springsteen at First Avenue, it would be a one-of-a-kind experience.
As for the show itself,
through broken glass and bloody tears on the streets of Minneapolis.
That was really cool. They just bring out Bruce Springsteen.
Can't go wrong there.
Yeah, absolutely. It was uplifting and sad and strong at the same time.
At First Avenue, Ari Bergeron, News Talk 830 WCCO.
A federal magistrate judge orders the release of local independent journalist Georgia Fort following her arrest by federal agents at her home this morning. Fort was detained in connection with her coverage of an anti-ICE protest inside a St. Paul church earlier this month. Former CNN news anchor Don Lemon was also taken into custody early this morning in Los Angeles. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz telling NBC News the Trump administration's plan for mass deportations isn't sitting well with the public. And he says while border czar Tom Homan says he wants to do things differently, we have yet to see meaningful change.
I think they underestimated what the blowback would be on this. I think they underestimated what this messy, ugly, dangerous proposal. I think they had a dream that they would just continue this and sweep across the country. This is what they've talked about. So what I believe is reality is coming to clash with what they think. He's not going to get it. It's just not going to happen, and that's what they need to recognize.
Walz says the only way to ensure the safety of the people of Minnesota is for the federal government to draw down their forces and end what he calls this campaign of brutality. Some surprises, to say the least, in the Twin Cities sports scene today. The Twins parting ways with President of Business and Baseball Operations Derek Falvey, who says it was a mutual decision.
These conversations accelerated more over the last week, and I felt like this was the based on what we discussed, I would say collectively, this was the right time for me.
Also today, the Vikings firing GM Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Owner Mark Wilf saying this is a critical offseason and they did not feel comfortable moving forward with the current leadership. WCCO News Times, 5:06.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things are getting clogged on 494 northbound at Bass Lake Road and the Fish Lake Interchange. Things are finally moving on Highway 10 westbound up in Coon Rapids. 694 westbound, we have 2 cars on the shoulder that got into an accident right under the East River Road exit sign. That's in Fridley. We have a slow traffic on crossbound eastbound from Valley View Road to Xerxes Avenue. Let's look at your commute. I'm Darren Kimeyer, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jordana Green here. I pray you and your family are always safe. But if there's ever a time where you need an advocate after an accident, let Mike Bryant of Bradshaw and Bryant help you. He will work with and for you in dealing with the insurance company. Call 800-770-7008 today. Bradshaw and Bryant, seeking justice for the injured.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Brought to you by Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys seeking justice for the injured, and you can find them at minnesotapersonalinjury.com. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Yet another chilly night tonight as we fall back to 3 below. Then the warmer air kicks in. Plenty of sunshine tomorrow with a high of 17. Even warmer on Sunday with a high of 26. That's above average. What's stealing the headlines? The Clipper system that brings some light snow. Could yield 1 to 2 inches. We should stay in the 20s for highs into next week.
Mostly clear, 10 degrees right now at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Yeah, the penny might be out of circulation, but you can still give your 2 cents right here. News Talk 830 WCCO. He knows news. He knows talk. He knows nonsense, too. So get ready for a lot of each. This is Drive Time with DeRUSH. Once again, here's Jason DeRUSH.
Oh, it's Friday. We made it to Friday. It feels like it's been a year over the last week, but it's just been a week. That's it. We're almost done with January.
Now shut up and drive.
I'm hopeful. I mean, is February going to be better? I don't know, man. Every day, 1 million stories involving Minnesota. You would think on a day where the Vikings and the Twins both fired their top executives under any normal circumstance, that would be the biggest story of the day. It's like number 4, number 3 on the list. So just to give you a change of pace, that is where we're starting with the DeRUSH Hour News headlines.
The headlines you might have missed without missing a beat. This is your fast pass through the biggest and most impactful stories of the day. Welcome to the DeRUSH Hour headlines, starting with the lead.
And so let's start with the Minnesota Vikings, because this was the move. I don't know, both of these were sort of unexpected, right? We're going to go deeper on both of these decisions in the 5:30 hour with the beat writers who cover both the Minnesota Vikings and the Minnesota Twins. But I didn't see this coming. Did you see the fact that, somebody was going to go into Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and into Derek Falvey's office and say, "You're fired." Oh, that's how I picture the Wilfs for sure. I don't know the Pollad regime is quite at that level yet, but the Vikings have said, look, we did what you said. We drafted who you said we should draft. And it flopped. So you're out. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, who was, remember when he was hired, he was like the, like the nerd, like the data nerd, the
whiz kid.
Whiz kid. And the truth is, he had some success with free agency and almost no success with the draft. He had, of his 10 major draft picks, I think 2 are still even with the team. So, not good. Not good. And when you as an organization make a decision to not spend the money on Sam Darnold, a decision that, by the way, was not super controversial here in the Twin Cities.
It was very defensible, yeah.
But then that guy goes on to take his team to the Super Bowl. I do think it's reasonable to say, like, well, this was your gamble, and it didn't work, and so you got to pay the price.
A lot of people said it when they drafted J.J. McCarthy, that Kwesi and KOC were tying themselves to this quarterback decision. And if it didn't work, that meant that was going to be their jobs. Now, there's no indication that KOC's in any kind of trouble.
Right.
And I don't know that people thought that Kwesi would be gone quite this fast. But clearly, that quarterback decision played a huge role in this.
Derek Falvey departing the Minnesota Twins. So that is surprising, mostly because of the timing. The fact that spring training is right around the corner. But leadership in the owner's suite changed just about 45 days ago, where one Pollad became the next. And so Tom Pollad and Derek Falvey just couldn't quite figure it out.
I think from a structure standpoint, Tom has said along the way that he expects to be an active owner and really engaged, and I totally respect that, and I think we were trying to figure out exactly what that looked like and what role he wanted to play, and
so when you have a guy who's in charge of the business and the baseball operations, and we'll get into this more coming up in the next half hour, but it's pretty clear the owner had different ideas, and Derek Falvey is a baseball guy, not necessarily a business ops guy. And so here we are. For the fan, what I love, my favorite is Twins Twitter, where Twins Twitter wants everybody to be cleared out because all these guys are bums and they all make bad decisions. And then when they fire Rocco, they're like, well, Rocco wasn't the problem. And then when they fire Falvey, they're like, well, Derek did the best he could with his circumstance. It's like, what's with you people? Fresh start is where we're at. The biggest local news, well, I don't know. It's a tough, how do you pick? But this morning, the arrest of independent journalist Georgia Fort and former CNN journalist Don Lemon because of a St. Paul church service sort of invasion. Yeah. A surprising start to the day, I would say. The federal government had tried to get arrest warrants for Georgia Fort and Don Lemon before, and a federal judge said no. And that was appealed, and the appeals court said no. And so they convened a grand jury. And grand juries, I think I was reading some stat that said only 5 times have a grand jury told the federal government, no, you can't have charges. So the arrest warrant is here. The charge is related to interfering, sort of similar things that the leaders of the protest were charged with, like Nikema Levy Armstrong, where she was charged with interfering with someone's First Amendment right. And you're under federal law, you're not allowed to interfere with someone's expression of First Amendment rights. National Day of Protest going on all throughout. Oh, she has been released, by the way. She is back home. The federal government also tried to get her locked up because they said her offense is violent. At a certain point, no matter what you think about this stuff, just listen to this. They wanted her held in jail. You can be mad and say she was an activist and she should have called the cops or she shouldn't have gone along or she shouldn't have gone in the church. Fine. Give her a ticket for trespassing. But give me a break when now you have these goofball federal prosecutors trying to argue that Georgia Fort is some sort of threat and needs to be held. At a certain point, you're like, when are people going to say enough with these loons? This is your government, and this is how they think they should be using their time? Let's go get the worst of the worst. Oh, yeah. Thanks for cleaning up our streets by arresting Georgia Fort. You guys are profiles in courage. Just ridiculous. Who you can understand why thousands took the streets here in Minnesota and around the world today. A national day of protest. We saw large crowds in the streets of Minneapolis, lots of chanting, very different from what we heard last time around. Well, the chanting is pretty much the same. Crowds were different. This was not organized by the largest labor unions in the state. This was organized by students. Taylor Rivera, who was out in the protest, described it as being a little more grassroots. And I will say it was certainly larger than I expected. Now, a number of businesses throughout Minnesota did not close this time, saying they can't afford it. And to that end, there have been more efforts to try to raise money for Twin Cities businesses. Twin Cities Business Magazine, Adam Platt, wrote today a piece that says local restaurants face an extinction event. Kind of a triple threat of bad weather, of a typical January, and then ice activity. Adam reported that a cross-section is reporting revenues off 50%, not compared to the month before, compared to a typical January. So that is bad. And the Minneapolis Foundation, along with former food critic Stephanie March from Minneapolis St. Paul Magazine, launched a recovery fund. It is called the Salt Cure Fund. So if you go to thesaltcurefund.org, you can donate to a fund. Restaurants will be able to apply, and a panel of experts from within the business will decide, like, all right, here's who gets it. Another thing we're keeping an eye on is the fact that Target is undergoing a CEO transition this weekend.
Wellness perfectly picked for you. Now at Target.
Sunday is the day that Michael Fidelke takes over the company. Brian Cornell, 12 years. When he started, he really righted the ship. Remember 12 years ago, Target had expanded big time into Canada, and it flopped. He pulled the plug quickly, shutting down 133 stores, took a $5.4 billion hit. He sold the pharmacy business to CVS, and it turned Target around. Stock price went from around 60 when he started, Axios reports, to 260 during the pandemic. Now it's back around $100. And what has happened? Unclear leadership. So many social issues that have been a challenge. DEI. Are they into it? Are they not into it? And so the Fidelke era starts on Sunday. One more note, sad news. Lindsey Vonn crashed in her last downhill before the Olympics. She was airlifted to the hospital.
Now, you can see in this video, it's hard to watch here, Vonn losing control while landing a jump and then getting tangled up in those safety nets. Now, after getting out, she did ski down to the bottom. She was then seen limping.
She wrote on Instagram, this is a very difficult outcome 1 week before the Olympics, but if there's one thing I know how to do, it is a comeback. My Olympic dream is not over. Those Milan Cortina games right around the corner. Lindsey Vonn, 41 years old, such an inspiration, whatever happens here, but we're cheering for her. And if she is right. If anyone can do a comeback, it is her. Let's break. We're going to talk potholes when we come back. Have you guys seen the potholes out there? Brutal. City of St. Paul has a new tool in their arsenal to try to help at least ease the pain for now. We're going to talk with the head of Public Works in just a minute on Drive Time.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, now is the time where a lot of us start meal planning for the weekend. And Minnesota Pork wants to be a part of your dinner conversation. It's Jason here inviting you to taste what pork can do. That's the website, tastewhatporkcando.com, where you can find recipe inspiration, all sorts of great ideas, and especially with the big game coming up next week. Thinking about, you're going to have some people over. You're going to maybe do a pork shoulder in the slow cooker. How about some carnitas? That sounds good. Carnitas nachos. Oh, who's having carnitas nachos? Invite me over. That sounds like a Super Bowl party I want to go to, for sure. It's lean, it's high in protein, and it's the product of 3,000 family farmers, every corner of the state. You know I love our Minnesota pork community. They're the salt of the earth. They're the people who are out there taking care of their people, taking care of their pigs, taking care of the planet. And you can take care of them by going to your grocery store or butcher shop and saying, let's have Minnesota pork for dinner tonight. Oh, yeah.
Finding excuses to not do your taxes? Well, you can start today and file for free with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. Just file on your own in the Credit Karma app by February 28th, and you'll pay $0. Start filing for free today. Offer only for those who didn't file with TurboTax last year.
Jordana here. Resolution or not, if you haven't made a plan yet, I'm talking about a life plan, an estate plan, a plan for, your stuff. I know you don't like to think about what might happen if something happened to you, if you became incapacitated or even worse. But you know what? You got to do it. If you don't have that will or living trust or a power of attorney or a healthcare directive, consider this your swift kick in the pants to get it done. And when it comes to estate planning, I recommend my dear friend, Matt Gutman. Matt has helped me so many times. I'm talking medical powers of attorney, plans for the kids when they go off to college, and his full estate plan for me and for Mark. He's done it for my family. He can do it for you too. He and his partner, Jamie Raff Wagner, will do an incredible job for you, and you will be happy it's done. Call Gutman Law today, 612-895-1616. GutmanLaw.com, 612-895-1616. GutmanLaw.com. Peace of mind today for tomorrow.
In a world in need of a hero, one man rises to the challenge in style. He is...
just driving the kids to soccer practice.
Make every day feel epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid with up to an EPA estimated 619 miles of range on select trims, advanced tech, and class-leading interior space. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
And hey, come on, no cleats on the seats.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH.
He's quirky. I like him. He's kind of goofy.
I do too. I think he's great.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Rush Hour News headlines going in-depth on a topic that I think a lot of our car tires have been going in-depth into over the last couple of weeks. The potholes are out, but St. Paul is celebrating because they have a new tool to help fight, at least temporarily fix some of these potholes. And to talk about maybe the least controversial topic in the Twin Cities today is the Public Works Director, Sean Kershaw, on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Sean, normally when we reach out to you about potholes, it's you're not that thrilled to talk about it, but I think a little diversion into another kind of headache is sort of welcome, right?
I agree. I would much rather talk about potholes than most of the other headlines.
Yeah.
And we're genuinely excited about what we're doing, and the mayor, was excited to experience it.
So part of what St. Paul has been unable to do in the past is really have like that temporary winter fix for potholes, right?
Yeah, what we've had in the past is what we call cold patch. And it's like sticky gravel, more or less.
Yeah.
And it prevents the real damage, that we're worried about for people's cars. So it's a quick, safe fix, but it's not very durable. And what's more durable, the hotter you make the asphalt, the more durable it becomes and the longer it lasts. And so this new Vigala machine is a way to recycle asphalt and use it to do hot mix much earlier in the season by a couple of months than we normally do.
Because usually, why can't you do hot mix, make it the traditional way in the winter?
Yeah, the asphalt plant that we own, and it's usually the first plant to open and the last to close, requires temperatures that are above a certain level for a certain period of time. And so that doesn't normally open up until March. And we started using, because the Vigala makes it hot sort of on site, for lack of a better word, we can put that in practice in January, even when the temperatures are cold. So it's a new solution to an old problem that's better than what we were doing before.
What are you seeing? I mean, you know how we all are as drivers. Like, every year is the worst year in the history of potholes if there are potholes on my drive anywhere. You know what I mean? How bad is it this year?
If you were going to come up with a recipe for potholes, it would be old streets, rain in January, and a freeze-thaw cycle, and that's exactly what we've had. So this year, I know everybody thinks they're the worst, like you said, but this year is legitimately worse. We had rain on and off that, turned into ice, and that rain seeps into our old streets. It freezes. When it freezes, it expands. And so when we get this like literal rain in December and January, and then the freeze thaws, it makes the potholes worse. And so this will be a bad year. It'll take months. There are going to be some bad roads like parts of Shepherd, parts of Vandalia, but this gives us, a better resource earlier.
Sean Kershaw is with us, the Public Works Director in the city of St. Paul. Is there some embarrassment that you bought this piece of equipment used from Minneapolis? I mean, does it feel...
Superintendent of Public Works Street Department?
Like, I don't love it. I like the fiscal responsibility.
That works. And did they release? Are you guys releasing a
from your big sibling in some ways? I'll agree. But Minneapolis Public Works is a great partner. We work together closely on snow operations, and they use our asphalt plant. And so it was really the creativity of a new street superintendent that we have that came from Minneapolis. And then the mayor was really excited to talk about it and to go out and experience it firsthand, which is what happened earlier this week.
Cost about $15,000 or something, so quite a bit of savings there. And most importantly, I think for people in St. Paul, if it means a more durable patch and maybe fewer, dented tires or messed up cars, that's a win.
Yeah, and I think the work we've done, even in the short term, we rebuilt a portion of Grand Avenue this year that was notoriously bad. County did Rice Street and the state did Arcade, and we've done some downtown streets. So we're making progress, but the weather this winter has been really bad for drivers and good for potholes.
Yep. All right. Well, enjoy some patches, enjoy your new toy, and hopefully we won't get another massive snow where you have to worry about. We're not out of the woods, but it's I don't know. It's so cold, like it barely snows, it seems.
Yeah, and I'll say it'll warm up next week, which will be great, but that'll bring out some more of the potholes when the thaw happens. But yeah, we're on it. And certainly we'll get more snow, and it's the same crews that do pothole patching that do snow plowing, but we're excited to get out early.
Very good. Sean Kershaw, appreciate visiting with you. Thanks for being on.
Thanks, Jason.
All right, we are going to talk about the changes in the sports landscape. We'll get our Twins expert on and our Vikings expert on as two front office executives fired today, or, mutual separation, however you want to call it. Drive Time, back in a minute.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Lendseek.
OpenAI is investing into a brain interface startup that plans to compete against Elon Musk's Neuralink. Merge Labs was co-founded by OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, and OpenAI is Merge Labs' biggest investor. Merge Labs says its initial products will be for medical use, with brain-linked devices helping people with paralysis control computers or turn attempted speech into spoken words. I'm Jason Brooks.
As a small business owner, if a sudden need or opportunity comes up, are you ready to act fast with the capital you need? With LendSeek, you will be, with up to $5 million in as little as 24 hours. Whether it's a credit line, term loan, or revenue-based financing, LendSeek's AI-enabled marketplace can match you with the right funders. More than 1,000 business owners have used LendSeek to access over $300 million in funding. Start ready and stay ready with LendSeek. Apply at lendseek.com.
At Wealth Enhancement, we believe wealth is in the details. Our team of trusted advisors craft personalized solutions to help you achieve your financial goals. Tune in to the Your Money Show on News Talk 830 WCCO every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. or go to wealthenhancement.com to connect with one of our advisors.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
169 northbound. We have 3 on the shoulder between between 101st Avenue and 109th Avenue. That's up in Brooklyn's Park. Stop and go traffic on County Road. Stop and go traffic on Crosstown eastbound between Lyndale Avenue and Bloomington Avenue. Slowing in both directions on 694 between Central and Highway 100 due to an accident. That's a look at the roads. I'm Darren Kmeyer, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, forecast time. Weekend is here, and with it comes some changes in the weather. Here's Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
We chill out again tonight under a mainly clear sky, falling back to 3 below. Then finally, we start to warm up around here. Plenty of sunshine tomorrow with a high of 17. Even warmer Sunday, up to 26. But we'll be dealing with some light snow. Not a lot, maybe an inch or 2, but it could create some slick spots out there. Highs will stay in the 20s next week, maybe even the 30s by late next week.
8 degrees, it feels like 1 with a light breeze out there on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH.
He's a likable guy, but man, there was a lot of words and not a lot of content for me.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
I didn't expect to have baseball talk today, and I think I'm not alone in that I did not expect Derek Falvey to leave the team. Well, I want to get some insight on this because whenever there's an announcement that you mutually agree to part ways, it makes me think, really? How mutual was it? Dan Hayes, who covers the Twins for The Athletic, is with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Okay, how mutual was this?
I think it was 55-45 mutual. I think this was pretty mutual, to be honest. I think that Derek Falvey saw, first, both sides were pretty upfront about the fact that, their personalities just didn't mix great. And they figured that out. Tom Pohlad really hadn't been around the Twins significantly until probably August, when he started kind of working with limited partnership groups and on the partial sale that closed, in December. And so I think that's when they started to be around each other a little bit more. And obviously at the time, Derek being the team president was getting a chance to see Tom. And I think early off, it just, people said their personalities weren't quite in sync. And I think that Derek Falvey probably saw that if this didn't go well this year, that maybe it would be a mutual parting with less of his say-so down the road.
Yeah.
And
saw the writing on the wall and thought, look, there's a chance to get out and give my group, this team, the right amount of runway with Tom Pohlad. And I think in that way, he probably decided to, it sounds like 2 weeks ago, they started to realize this wasn't a great fit. And then obviously Twins Fest is last weekend, so you have to take a little pause, but they picked it back up this week. And here we are now where Derek Falvey departs after 9+ years running Twins baseball.
So part of what I was wondering in this is the fact that Tom Pohlad is a business guy. He has run the Pohlad companies. So, Derek is more of a baseball guy. But he had this title of running the business operations and the baseball operations, which I asked Derek a couple times last year. There are times that you do what's best for baseball, which is what he thought was happening when they sort of cleaned house at the trade deadline, and it's going to be bad for business. Like, is it difficult to have one guy do the same gig? What's the vision going forward with that?
Well, I mean, so they are definitely going to have separate heads. Jeremy Zoll will take over the day-to-day operations. He was handling a lot of that stuff as the GM this last year. Right. Now he will be fully operating. But for the moment, Tom Pohlad runs the business side on an interim basis, and they're looking for a business side head. So yes, they are trying to separate the two. And, that's what the role that Derek Falvey held is, generally speaking, unique. I mean, there were, I think, 3 total people in baseball that have done this. And so it's not like it's a common job. And it was done at the time, I think, basically because they thought they were going to be sold to a different owner. And this would be a way to kind of shield the whole group and keep things going and have Derek be the front face with the new owner whenever that happened. Obviously, a sale never occurred. And so he remained in this role. There was really no discussion about, it doesn't sound like there was a serious discussion about him just going back to being the baseball ops head. I think, look, when we talked to Tom Pohlad last week at Twins Fest, he was pretty insistent that they are going to compete now. They're going to win this year. It's a really important year. And, that's great. But I don't know how, there's a lot of challenges for this team to have a great year. I mean, we're talking about a team with a $109 million payroll, and that's $33 million down from last year, which was obviously their second straight losing year. They have added 2 guys in the bullpen, and they took away 5 at the trade deadline, and the 2 are nice pieces, nice back end pieces, but they're not Yohan Duran or Griffin Jacks or, when you look at that group that they traded, Louis Varland, there's a big hole missing in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. And there's some intriguing guys that I think will get looks, but that's not the path to winning a lot of games. And so I think that you see that and you realize, man, if this is an important year, there could be some serious ugliness ahead, and getting out in front of it.
Does this change anything for the new manager, you think? I mean, Shelton was brought in by Falvey, but by Joe Pohlad also.
Right.
Well,
last week I asked him about it. Yeah, it's funny. Last week we asked Derek Shelton about that, and he said it was very similar to the messaging from Tom Pohlad and Joe was very similar, and he was encouraged by that. So that was a week ago. That's what he said. But, I mean, look, you got to be curious about where things are because, does this mean Jeremy Zoll has a 1-year leash, right? If things don't go well, do they bring in a new baseball head next year? And if they bring in a new baseball head, do they keep the manager that was brought on by the old baseball head? There's nothing to say that these are, possibilities that they're even on the forefront of Tom Pohlad's mind at all. But the uncertainty part of it certainly is something to consider because it's just the nature of things. These are somebody else's guy, and so if there's change, I mean, who knows? It's definitely, there's no certainty. There's a lot of questions. And I mean, it can't be very comfortable. And Derek Shelton was pretty excited last week about what this team can do, and you can tell that the players are excited to play for him. But, here we are 13 days before spring training, and we're talking about a leadership change.
Yeah. Dan Hayes is with us from The Athletic. If Jeremy was running the baseball, I guess I'm less worried about that than some. If Jeremy is your general manager, the players, it's not like it's that big of a difference there. I imagine it's more stressful if you work over at One Twins Way, and now you don't know who's running the business. If you're in marketing or ticket sales or partnerships or whatever, you're like, oh my gosh, now what's going on?
Well, look, as of Thad Levine only got let go in October of 2024. So Jeremy Zoll has been doing this job for 1 year. And at the time when he was ascending, like Derek Falvey was the buffer between ownership and the day-to-day, him doing the day-to-day stuff. And now he directly works with Tom Pohlad. And Tom Pohlad wants a lot for this team. And whether or not the team can match that reality.
Right, that's the question.
That whether the reality is if the team can match up, that's a big, so, I don't know that this is a great opportunity for Jeremy Zoll. He'll really get a chance to show what he's capable of right here. But this is a huge step for him. So, because that buffer is definitely gone. And Derek Falvey, he'd already gone through that before with Joe Pohlad. He came in under Jim Pohlad. He had Jim Pohlad from 2016 until November of 2022. And basically had to train Joe Pohlad on how things go. Just, hey, here is free agency. And this is what the process is like. And even asking Tom Pohlad about what free agency was like last week, and it was the Victor Caratini signing, he said, everybody got really excited, and it was a big deal when it came through. And he said, and you would have thought we got Bregman. And it was like, no, man, this is like, so there's a natural learning curve.
Yeah.
Right. And so now Jeremy Zoll will do that with Tom Pohlad. So this is, there's a lot on him in this, at this time.
The business side president doesn't, when you think about it from a fan perspective, how important is that? Dave St. Peter was sort of a community stalwart, so people knew him. There was a connection with him in the community. But this doesn't have to be like a big public-facing person, does it?
No, definitely not. And you're right. Dave St. Peter probably was sort of a rarity in that way because he did take a front-facing personality. But, it just depends on organization to organization. And before it was Dave St. Peter and Terry Ryan, right? And so we got sort of, Dave was there for so long. So it's going to be interesting to see what that ends up looking like. But I think just from the early indications, Tom Pohlad wants to have a hands-on role. He said a lot of things in these two press conferences prior to today over the last month, whether it was the part about them making some missteps of their own, that kind of thing, like, he has been direct and honest in saying we need to win fans and their trust back. And that's not typical owner stuff. You sometimes you don't hear from the owner.
Right.
You look at a lot of teams around. Steve Cohen, yes, you hear from him with the Mets. You hear from, a handful of other owners, but by and large, owners stores kind of can stay in the back. And so that'll be interesting to see if Tom keeps this visible role and what that means for the business ops guy, or if they bring someone on. But it wouldn't shock me if he is here to stay as long as the Pohlads run this team.
Yeah, pretty interesting. Yeah, if you're a numbers guy, like send your resume over there, right? Maybe you could be the next business ops guy. We'll see. Well, spring training is just 2 weeks away, so you can never make Twins fans happy in this scenario, right? The timing is weird. The timing is bad, but also I guess I'd rather have these guys say, I don't think this is going to work instead of spending the year butting heads,
Right. It's the 27th month cycle of just trauma for Twins fans.
Yeah.
27 months ago. That's how long ago it was they beat the Blue Jays.
Oh.
And we're 1-1 in the series with the Astros, and it feels like 10 years ago.
It feels so long ago. Dan, I'd like you to have a day off. Thank you for spending some time with us. We appreciate it.
No problem, Jason. Thanks.
Dan was actually on the Zoom call with Derek Falvey when he found out that Kwesi was fired, not mutual separation, fired. We're going to get some insight from Alec Lewis about that move coming from the Vikings. Couple big sports surprises. We got it all covered for you on Drive Time.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSH. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
I want you to come with me to Ireland. It's that simple. It's Jason here, inviting you on an unbelievable vacation with my friends at Colette. The trip is called Shades of Ireland. You go to WCCOradio.com. Almost every page has a little pop-up about this, but you can also get there using the More button and click on Shades of Ireland. We are going on September 13th through the 22nd with Colette. This will be my fourth trip with Colette, and each one has been better than the last. Wonderful experience. They take care of everything, literally everything. You show up when you get to the airport. They book your flights. They do all of it. They take your luggage. They take you to the hotel. They take your luggage up to your room. It's all handled. You just have to have fun. And oh my gosh, this itinerary is unbelievable. I've always wanted to go to Ireland. I've never been there. So this is going to be all new to me. We're doing all the hits. Into Dublin, Blarney Castle, kissing the Blarney Stone. We're going to a brewery. We're going to a whiskey distillery. I will buy you a Guinness. We're going to do the Ring of Kerry, the Cliffs of Moher, sheepdog demonstration, dairy farm, so much stuff, so much fun. Let's go. September 13th through the 22nd. You can call Colette at 866-436-6734 or just go to the website. Let's book it. Let's book it. We got an info meeting coming up, too, on February 10th, Feb 10th at Park Tavern, because what's more Irish than the Park Tavern in St. Louis Park at 6:30. Sign up today or sign up to come to the info meeting, and I can't wait to join you in Ireland.
Winter in Minnesota, and the whole state is just covered with ice.
Ice is the worst. It shows up uninvited, sticks around too long, and we're all stuck dealing with it.
Doesn't matter how careful you are, one wrong step and ice can ruin your whole day.
Well, you try to get rid of it, but somehow it keeps showing up like it owns the place.
Ice don't care what you want. It has its own agenda.
When Minnesota is affected by ice, we're on it. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jordana here for my friends at Mini Leaf. Hear what they're saying about this brand I love.
Tell me about your experience with the night gummies.
I started using them. I think this is my third order. I heard Jordana on WCCO radio talking about it, and I thought, well, if she's doing it, trying to get off the Ambien, and I started with the pineapple gummies for sleep. That's what I take them for, is sleep. And I've been very pleased with the product. I started with the full gummy. Now I only take half, and that helps me sleep. So I'm very happy with the product, and I'm 70 years old.
And those Sleep Night gummies will help her sleep painlessly through the night. Those Sleep Night gummies are a real charm. Check out Mini Leaf's products at MINNELEAF.com. Check out that Triple Diamond Pain Cream, those Sleep Night gummies, or their other great products. I use them. There's so many CCOers that absolutely love them. You will too.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55, but unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Hey everyone, I'm Josh Radner, and I am so excited to tell you about How We Made Your Mother, a rewatch podcast looking back at How I Met Your Mother. And I'm here with Craig Thomas, who co-created the show along with Carter Bays. Hi, Craig.
Hey, Josh. Somehow it has been 20 years since the show premiered. I'm going to check the math on that. 10 years since it went off the air, and we thought that made this a perfect time to look back, see what the hell we did, and why the show still seems to resonate with fans around the world today.
Follow and listen to How We Made Your Mother wherever you get your podcasts.
When it comes to affordable term life insurance, everyone's whistling the Big Lou tune. If you're over 50, maybe a bit porky, or have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost about $200 a month. Even if you're not in perfect health, call Big Lou, because he specializes in finding big chunks of affordable term life insurance for just about everyone. Don't let diabetes or other health glitches keep you from owning $500,000 to $1 million or more of term life insurance. For affordable term life insurance, call Big Lou. Don't hesitate. Call 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or visit biglou.com.
Call Big Lou, don't hesitate. 800-700-6898. Call Big Lou, don't hesitate. 800-700-6898. Visit biglou.com.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things are looking good around the metro. 494 on the south end through Bloomington is moving around the posted speeds as we start to wrap up this Friday commute. As a reminder, the entrance ramp from 12th Street, which is Wabasha there, to 94 West is closed until April 1st. 94 East is congested coming out of the Spaghetti Junction over to the tunnel. Plenty of little extra time over there. Otherwise, things are looking good. That's a look at the commute. I'm Darren Kmeyer, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
8 degrees is all we have right now in Minneapolis. Tonight we get down to 3 below. This weekend is Dees. Tomorrow, 17 is the high. Mostly sunny. Sunday, 26. That's pretty good, but light snow. Might get 2 inches. Right now it's feels like 1 because of the breeze on CCO.
The ride home deserves better conversation. Drive time with DeRUSH on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Is Dees a weird, like... Just, I know when we're going to talk to Alec Lewis, I have to use the language of the young.
You got to be hip like the kids, yeah.
Alec knows what it is to be Dees, right?
Apparently not.
Alec, hello.
Yes. Sorry.
No.
I mean, look, I'm in the middle. First, good to talk to you, Jason. I hope you guys are well. I'm in the middle of crafting this next iteration of the.
You got to feed the beast. You got to feed the athletic.com.
Right. That's right.
Already,
yes,
your
right.
last update was at 4 p.m. Eastern about the Vikings. You know what Dees is when you say it's Dees, right? Like decent. Decent, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, of course, but I mean, I just prefer to use the actual word. You know,
I don't have that kind of time.
I mean, fair. Look,
I mean, that's not true. I have 3 hours. Let's be real. I have so much time.
I was going to say
Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, though, out of time. His time is up. Were you surprised that the Vikings fired Kwesi?
I was surprised at the timing. I was not entirely surprised by this happening. I think when the season ended a few weeks ago, in the days after that, it was a pretty interesting dynamic and situation, and I was wondering at the time if this news was potentially going to happen then. It didn't happen, and then ownership reconvened this Wednesday and made the decision that was obviously kind of finalized this morning when Kwesi was told in person.
So I wonder why they waited, because obviously if you act quicker, it does. I don't know if they lost any potential candidates over this delay, but that's why people act quickly, right?
Well, I mean, that's definitely part of it. I mean, this ownership group tends to be methodical in how they think, and they want to be certain in the decisions that they make. But yeah, I mean, there's no question that, you know, you miss out on certain candidates that have already been scooped up. And frankly, I mean, you find yourself in a position now where Rob Brzezinski, who's been here for, I mean, longer than I've been alive, essentially, and has worked for this team and has a ton of respect internally, he's now going to be shepherding this process through free agency and through the draft. And potentially, I mean, who knows? He might be a candidate for the job down the road. But, it's crazy because if you go through that process with Rob at the helm and then you make 10 picks and you spend a bunch of money and you set a team and then you're going to hire someone who didn't have any say within any of that. I mean, it's kind of an
interesting. Like, what the hell were you guys doing? Like, yeah, it's very strange.
Like, I don't like that player. I didn't choose him. It's like, well, this is one of the most pivotal off seasons for the franchise's direction. So, it's interesting in a lot of ways.
When you look at the decision, obviously fans, rightly so, and my initial reaction is, look, it was very defensible to not spend the money to keep Sam Darnold. It wasn't even that controversial when they made the decision last year. But then when that guy goes to the Super Bowl, it is reasonable to look at that and say, like, well, it was defensible why you did what you did, but man, it didn't work. And so you got to pay. How much did that one thing have to do with it?
Yeah, I really don't think it is the overwhelming part of this decision.
Drafts? You think it's more draft pick failures?
I think it's draft picks, but I also think just from everything I understand from a leadership perspective and a synergy perspective organizationally, like I'm just not sure how tenable it was for things to move forward the way they were with just the dynamics internally is what I would say. And how certain people felt about some of the decision making, et cetera, just internally. So that's kind of how I'd say it. I do think the Sam Darnold, that it's a conversation worth having because it brings you to just the entire quarterback plan, which very much Kwesi Adofo-Mensah was in support of moving on from kind of a sustainable option and being willing to roll the dice on a young player. And then I also do think the draft misses undeniably are part of the overall evaluation. But for me, I've kept coming back to a quote that Kwesi himself used in the end of season press conference where he said, if you don't have alignment among the GM, the head coach, and the quarterback, then it's going to be really difficult. And so, and obviously, I think that's led to this decision.
They didn't have the alignment, no doubt. All right, very good. Really appreciate you jumping on with us today, Alec. Thank you. Henry's going to have more of this conversation coming up in his show straight ahead. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring